You have to wait for the happy part and the music, and then you cut
Oh,
out
okay.
because it gets sad again right after that. But so that's Phil's resurrection. Phil
On a
accidentally died
happy
again
note.
this week, I guess.
I'm
Yeah,
back.
he resurrected. He's alive. He
Yeah.
lives.
Phil dies every month, seeing as that's the only intro you have downloaded.
I need to
Come back.
restock.
I come back
Ooh.
even
You're
better.
never going to restock.
It's
couldn't
like
even
a
find-
shedding of the skin, right? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an evil snake.
Phil's
no,
a
more like
lizard
a-
person confirmed.
Oh, it's like molting, like some sort of tarantula.
snake.
Don't spiders
No,
do that?
you're reborn like a phoenix, Phil.
The famous shedding of the phoenix's skin.
Yes.
I was yes, exactly. Didn't you know about that?
Yeah,
How it
the
works.
phoenix sheds its skin, and then whoever wears it is protected from flames. They become flame retardant instead of just regular retardant.
Yeah.
Become
Just
flame
regular
retarded.
retarded.
That sounds like carnal lore. Put that in there.
Okay.
Like
yeah,
every
yeah,
time
yeah.
the phoenix sheds its skin, it's incredibly painful. It just screams really loudly.
Ah!
Yeah, you'll have to
my
invert that. But yeah, you could have there could be a phoenix skin cloak. And
Penix.
everyone's like, wouldn't it be a phoenix feather cloak? And he's like, no. That's the skin.
That is very carnal, yes.
Penix.
Man, yeah,
My goodness.
I've been thinking of even more stories today. The carnal world is so fun to play with. But
What
yeah,
is up with this layout, Pear?
I don't know.
What
Is there
is
a button I
going
can
on?
push?
Go
is
to a
this?
different.
You
there
can.
we go.
There you go. There's just like an empty void swallowing us
you.
whole.
That was bothering me too. Like we were talking behind the scenes a little bit, but we all hate StreamYard just temporarily until they charge way less money and become more normal.
Well,
Yeah.
they're charging too much, and they keep changing things behind the scenes, and keep adding all these fucking features. But it's like the UI is bad, so you don't know where everything is, and they're charging twice as much as they did before.
I mean, you're paying for features you're not even using, Pat. You got the black background. You have turned off the StreamYard's duck logo in the corner at least.
Quack.
Yeah, that's what I was telling them when I went to quit. They're like, "Any comments?" I'm like, "I don't even use your stupid ass shit, StreamYard. Get out of my face."
I mean,
I
honestly,
need basics. I need basics package.
honestly, all I
$1
need is just no logo. Like, I don't care about anything else. As long as I can have like at least one background, a couple of clips, and no logo, that's fine.
I
don't
kind of
know
like the logo. I miss it. I want it back.
Oh,
Well,
I'll pay money to
cancel,
have it come back.
cancel
to each their own.
everything, and then you can get the duck logo back. You can be one of those Unity game developers that still has the Unity logo pop up when the game loads.
Oh,
Didn't pay for the screen to be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Super
just a
cheap.
scam. Just keep it there. It's a scam.
Mhm.
Yeah, Alex says it's a background of color. That is indeed true. It's the most colorful background yet.
diverse.
Mhm.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anything? Did any quick like events happen this week? Like, I don't really think there was anything. I was thinking there was something I wanted to say, but I can't remember.
The
Did anyone
stock
die?
market-
Val Kilmer died. The stock market's
The,
crazy.
the stock market is gonna crash. We're gonna just the
Wow.
world's gonna implode. The economy is gonna blow up.
Nintendo released information on Switch 2, and now video games are going to be $100.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Doge
Yeah,
is
people
below
were
16.
overreacting to that. People were really mad about $80 games. I don't play or buy them, so I have no.
Here's the
I can't.
here's the situation with that. Games used to be like $80 anyway in the past, and that's when money was worth more. So for inflationary wise, they're like $100 now. Here's the thing: video games are like an escape, and people who are like, I don't want reality. And part of the reality they don't want to face is everything price-wise has just constantly gone up for a very long time, except for games. So like the pricing of games is almost part of the escapism of games, which is partly why people are so pissed off. But yeah, people could just go and get cheap indie games off Humble Bundle, I guess, instead of playing Mario Kart World or the new Donkey Kong, which looks fucking kick-ass. Have you
Donkey
Have you
Kong.
guys seen the new Donkey Kong design? I can pull
No.
it up.
People were talking about that too. They were comparing the old and the new, and yeah.
The old one fucking sucks balls. I love Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, best game ever. But this new Donkey Kong game looks sick, and the new character design looks great. I'm gonna pull it
I don't
up.
play video games, Jake.
You live.
You
Yeah,
used to
no,
be a
that's
professional gamer. You were a professional video game player.
No. You
Professional
mean,
when he was 15.
no, you mean to say I used to be a professional gay nerd?
You're still
Yeah,
getting
that
there,
too, maybe.
Phil.
I
Used
thought
to
that was still
be-
your profession right now.
You're right. She got me.
Oh, you guys.
That was very easy though.
The earring proves it.
I play
Fake
Marvel
fake
Rivals.
physical cartridges. That's a little sad.
Yo.
Okay, some of them are fake, and it's the same way that some fucking game discs on PS5 is fake, and you still have to download the game. They still have some of the cards will have the games on. It's still kind of gay, but like other consoles have already been doing that. I'm sharing the new Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kang is what I call
Oh
him.
yeah, sorry.
Spanky Spang. Look at this beautiful bastard. Look.
He's
at this.
okay.
Oh yeah, he looks exactly the
I can't
same.
decide.
He looks the same as he's looked at since the 80s.
What? No, this okay. This is
It actually it is a return more to the 80s design a little bit.
Yeah, it's what he looked like on the illustrations in like instruction manuals. Fine, Phil. I'll bring up the crappy rare design of him if you want. I'll bring up the different design.
Let the
Let's see.
nerd wars begin.
Let the games
I never
begin.
liked Donkey Kong.
What didn't you like about him?
He's like a giant gorilla. I'm not big on big gorillas.
Jake, you said that too whiny for some reason.
Because he loves them so
What's wrong
much.
with him? What's wrong, Phil? Why don't you like
Phil has a
gorillas?
long list of things he doesn't like. You don't like big gorillas. You don't like space.
Space,
You
underwater.
don't like the mangers,
Guard-
except for Trigun.
Anything
Phil-
that can kill or rape Phil, he doesn't like.
Yeah, anything that
I
can
mean, that's
overpower
pretty
me,
logical, though.
I
But
don't want to deal with.
I don't know. I'm not sure how many people out there are fans of things that can rape them, but this is the old one.
yeah, it's pretty. That's
God, he
pretty
looks so
normal.
stupid.
Standard.
Nah,
Yeah,
he does
yes.
look. The new version does look much better than this. This looks.
Look,
You know,
look at this expressiveness.
Fun fact, real quick, is the Donkey Kong Country novelization is the first long book I ever read in 3rd grade, and it's the only book in my life that I've ever read twice.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
but I forgot all my Donkey Kong lore, and I watched some of the TV show, so I got some nostalgia for the old designs. But
No, I didn't intake any of that media. Phil, you just don't like Donkey Kong because you're like, I'm the only gorilla around here. There can only be one.
No, I don't really like monkey characters. The only one gorilla characters I like is the Ultra Humanite from Justice League. He's a villain. He's just got a big squishy brain. He's smart. I always thought, who's that Flash one? Gorilla Grodd. I thought he was dumb. And Gorilla from Black Flag is cool because he's like got guns and stuff.
What about Dal M for monkey?
Oh, is that from Dexter?
I think it's Dexter adjacent. If
Yeah. I thought it was funny that he was like in love with that hot space chick. But I like the super team that from Dexter much better, which he was a part of sometimes.
Well, I guess I'll have to put a gorilla in Connell now. As soon as you hate gorillas, you'll have to have a
Just
gorilla
despite your
best friend.
yeah, Phil,
I do like
it's
Chim
like
Chim, yeah.
Phil, you can do your own curing your ailments by writing your own gorilla character.
Oh, it's like was that exposure therapy, right?
Yeah, take LSD, write a story about a gorilla.
Jump
And then
into the
you'll feel
gorilla,
better in the
gorilla
morning.
habitat at the zoo.
You need to fully expose yourself to a gorilla and see what happens, Phil.
Yeah. I'm
Wait,
going to the
wait.
zoo.
Did you say you didn't like gorillas, but you're fine with chimps?
No, I like
Chimps are the worst
orangutan.
one.
I like
Chimps are worse.
orangutan.
Oh yeah, they're okay.
Orangutan is cool. Like King Louis from the Jungle Book is awesome.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
I was about to say chimps are worse. Gorillas are pretty gentle.
Yeah.
So-
they're,
What about individual weeks? Phil, want to go first? You're right below me on the thing.
Yeah, so bunch of stuff happened this week. Cycle Slumber went into full production this week at the printers. So we're scheduled to get them in on the 11th, which is like a week from today or tomorrow, which would be crazy because next weekend is C2E2. But we'll see. They might come in the following Monday, who knows? So that's paid for. That's in production. Sweet. I just got all the Kill Journal books at my brother's place. So those are ready. So we could start fulfillment because we sold some of those books on the campaigns as well. And then this whole week has been like prepping for C2E2 next week. So I designed a new banner for us, new business cards. I did do a bunch of design stuff for the arcade as well, because we have banners, and I had to put an itinerary together today, and tomorrow we're loading up games and taking them someplace. It's a bunch of stuff, but next week's going to be like all more C2E2 prep. So it's been super busy and awesome. And then, also the Western, which we've been talking about and teasing out, I just okayed the issue 2 or chapter 2 script, and Oliver just started on the layouts for that. So that's in production as well, which maybe later I could pull up some of that to show off. But everything's been really cool, moving smoothly, and lots to do. So I'm hype.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear how C2E2 goes.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. A lot of
Yeah,
awesome
let's.
people doing it.
I always want to go to C2E2, and it just never happens.
It's cool. It's huge, and it's fun. Yeah, you guys should definitely come out one year.
Someday.
Jake, how was your week?
Okay, my week has been great. I will show one thing, but I know you want me to save stuff to I have stuff to show at the end. But I will put something up on screen right now just so we have something to look at whilst I'm talking about my week. I made more progress on the Conan the Barbarian Nippon special.
Oh, now it's backwards.
Okay,
How
so
adorable. I
I drew this cover the legit way, where it's supposed to be like Japanos.
Oh, you did.
style.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, it's supposed to be like this.
Uh-huh.
And then I realized when I came to lettering the Japanese version, I was like, all my artwork looks terrible flipped. So instead of flipping the entire book, I decided to just flip the cover back to Western version.
Oh, okay.
Which is, this is like it opens the way that we consider correct now.
Yeah. It's
Good.
fine. Japanese reads fine the other way. You don't have to do that.
Look.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh no, Alex said spoiler visible. Yes, but no, this is the censored version. No spoilers. Who knows what mysterious character lies behind the Pokemon style question mark. But yeah.
Oh my, it's a mystery.
I've been putting the book together. I got a bunch of pages already translated. This book's gonna look super sweet. I will show off a couple of spreads from the book like later on in the stream, because I have some updated character design sheets that are like gonna end up in Sketchy Starts.
Cool.
So yeah, I can show this off. But yeah, like this is the like one of the lettered pages, and this just ends up looking terrible flipped. I don't know if it's because my brain already has these pages deeply programmed into them.
Yeah, you've seen them so much already.
Yeah, so when I flipped this, I'm like, this isn't gonna work. Plus, if you flip it, you got to go all the way, and then you have to start putting the text vertical instead.
Yeah. You know what they say? If you flip it, then you gotta bop it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Twist it.
And then twist it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Schmang it.
By the way, did Chimera just give me $1, or did he type $1 or make his
I
name
think
$1?
he typed $1. That's not a super chat.
No, that is a super chat. No,
That's
pull
not
that
a
back
super
up.
chat.
Yeah, pull it up because there's no text there. See, the text would be under his name. And it
Oh,
says
so he gave
$1
you
next to
$1
it.
with no text?
So
to
he just
confuse you?
changed his name to $1 and then entered a
Chimera
0 word
wrench
comment.
$1.
Oh my god.
That would be hilarious.
I think that must mean that you don't have memberships on this channel, same as me, because I think that's why he do that. It's
yeah,
in
that's right.
place of a membership gifting.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I had that, but it's okay if I don't. Whatever.
But look, I even made my own adult only label.
Ooh, I like that. I like the
Art.
coloring, and you know what else I like? I like there's a kind of design that works good on covers, and it can kind of work in interiors too. But it's where you just leave the background white.
Yes,
I like that too.
There, I saw they just came out with a new like old man Daredevil book, the issue 1, and the background is just white. And I saw that today. I'm like, man, it looks so clean and cool. You know.
Well, you know what? It's up to Irene if she wants to mention a cover related to the same convention that might have wine in the background. But yeah, this is a
Ooh.
typical like
Yeah.
mangery thing
Yeah.
too. They do this a lot. But yeah, other than
I like that.
this, other than that, you guys been getting your Minecraft blind box
Excuse me?
figure from McDonald's related
Ooh,
to
that's
the
fun.
movie?
I was wondering if the Minecraft movie might actually be good in a super weird way, but I don't know. It's getting bad reviews.
I
But
don't think I've been to a
getting bad
McDonald's
reviews.
in 4 years.
I still want to watch it, and I'm still holding out hope that it could be amazing trash.
It's
I
gonna
thought
be
it would
Yeah.
be fun. It's so easy to make it fun.
But did you
yeah,
see
so
the
it might
trailer?
be good.
Jack Black is in it, and
Yeah.
a bunch of and like I think it already has like lower than Snow White ratings on Rotten Tomatoes.
No. Oh
I saw some
no.
comparisons of the Snow White thing, and that looked fucking abysmal too. The backgrounds look nice. The characters look
Why
terrible.
is-
The backgrounds.
Why
Yeah.
can't we have nice
Yeah.
things? Why is everything shit?
It's the future. You're not allowed.
Ye-
No nice things allowed. But
They announced Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen as the new guy. Who's the old guy? What was his name?
No,
So
you said it wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
Liam Neeson instead of Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, that alone
yeah,
was
which
funny
is
to me.
weird, huh?
Yeah, and I was thinking though, if that's the first real comedy in like 10 years. So I think I might go see it no matter what, even if it gets bad reviews. I'm gonna.
the only person that's apparently allowed to do comedies is Seth fucking MacFarlane now. Like he's the only person that seems to not give a fuck about what jokes he says, I guess. Or he's like grandfathered in to being able to be edgy or something, and all the other comedians are like worried about their image.
Yeah.
Flame.
Le, just in defense of Liam Neeson in the part, it's kind of what Leslie Nielsen. I didn't know this, but Leslie Nielsen was a serious, awesome, serious actor, and then just out of nowhere, he deadpanned Police Force or whatever, and Naked Gun and stuff, and everyone loved it. So it's possible that could work with Liam Neeson.
We should watch the trailer because I haven't watched it all the way through. Like later, I guess.
I haven't
second
watched
half
it at all.
thing.
Yeah, I'm down to scope it a little bit later.
Sight unseen, I was like, oh, fuck off. But
Yeah.
I could be won over by a good trailer. But yeah, week wise, other than all this, I did get one other thing finished that I can't show. I think we said last week that seeing as Irene's doing new covers for
I mean, you can
Fiendish.
show. It's not quite done, but yeah.
Are you gonna
can
show
show
it?
Yeah. I already
Okay.
showed the inks. Okay, I will go. I've been share screen. Share. I've been working on these covers for the Japanese editions of Fiendish.
Are we pivoting to Irene's week, or is this an overlap?
Yeah,
like
my
a Venn
week's
diagram?
done. Okay, the last thing is basically I finished coloring the Fiendish 2 Japanese cover in like a couple of days. I was under the wire and I got it in. Deadline.
Yeah, I thought you were
Is this the
pivoting
one with the white background?
I swooped in. No, hold on. The chapter 2 cover, got all these covers, is this one. I only have the inks, but Jake has the colors. We're not quite done. I'm probably gonna nitpick a few more things, but it looks awesome. Jake did an amazing job. I'm so proud of this cover. So this is the Japanese, the cover for the Japanese edition of chapter 2. And then this is what I just finished. I posted some snapshots of the actual art, because this is real art drawn on real paper, on the Twatters. And this will have a white background because I want it to be really just stark, just the demon and Casimir. And this is actually an old composition I had from years ago, before I was even done with chapter 1. And I just decided to go with like this group shot for the permanent cover. I probably should have put more thought into the permanent cover for chapter 1 than I ended up doing. But anyways, this is going to be the Japanese edition. I guess the Chinese edition, I'm kind of splitting the covers between Eastern and Western variants, you know.
I like that.
Looking
Cool.
real fluid. Thank you, Ellie. I have the actual
Smart.
piece here. I mean, it's the same thing, but look, real paper. Oh my god.
By the way, we got 37 people watching. That's a lot for my channel. Thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Creative block. It rotates, every week, and this week we're on my channel. So
Yeah, I love the white backgrounds. Like, it's a really cool contrast, and for some reason it makes it look like designed and like a cover, and it really evokes it, because I mean, you look at all those manga covers, they love doing that in Japan, and I think it just makes the character and moment pop off the cover a little bit more.
Yeah, it's very much a manga cover thing to have just a pure white background with a character. So I think a lot of manga covers have just one character on the cover, regardless of the background. And I think it's because the books are smaller and it's just more attention grabbing. And I kind of like that. So you notice with the Japanese versions, that's what I've gone for. So like with this, it's just Casimir, and chapter 2 is just Yomi. And I don't know if I have time to do a 2.5 because it's like the convention is a month away and I'm getting anxious. I want to get the books to print. But yeah, I'm gonna have these, and Jake's gonna be coloring them, and I'm sure they'll turn out great.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna look great. It's gonna
It'll
look
be sweet.
yeah.
Jim Alaska asked why, as in why do I have Eastern Western versions? They're kind of just different markets. It's different presentations sell in different markets, so that's part of the reason. And if
Yeah,
I'm
and the
doing,
Easter ones are in Japanese.
yeah, this is the actual Japanese
yeah.
version. Like I have the Japanese chapters up on Global Comics, so all 3 chapters of Fiendish have been translated Japanese as well. So yeah, it's a different market. I'm gonna be completely redoing the print files anyways. So I figured new cover, and I will have these up on the store for people who want it.
cool. What? Anything else? Did you like get food poisoning or anything anything crazy?
I've been catching up on my Western canon. I've been watching a lot of movies, and I'm proud of myself. What did I watch in the past week? I know in like the past month or two, I've watched Dumb and Dumber, a bunch of Jim Carrey. I watched The Mask last year, but I watched Dumb and Dumber, and I can't remember. I tweeted about it. Oh, Bicentennial.
Yeah, I remember that tweet. Maybe we can talk some about that too for the second half.
Yeah,
because I like talking that kind of stuff.
We
We won't be able to roast you anymore for not seeing anything.
I know, and I watched A Bug's Life. So I've seen most Pixar movies, but I never watched A Bug's Life because I thought the designs were ugly. But then I finally watched it. I was like, oh, these designs actually work pretty well. And the thing is, so the way the bugs were designed, they're so influential. This is the thing with watching these older films without knowing what it's like. I finally see where a bunch of modern stuff is influenced, where their influence comes from. All the one-liners, and then even the designs of the bugs, and the German caterpillar. I will become a beautiful butterfly. Like, I've heard that so many times, and I finally know.
Oh, like the gay German? I just thought that was a gay German. I didn't know it was the
No,
butterfly.
that was the Bug's Life. That was the caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
Yeah.
So I've been
I'm a beautiful butterfly, and it's like he's
beautiful.
posing. I suppose women say that whenever they've got ready and they, look like a giant caterpillar still.
Well,
Probably British women. It's a UK thing, I think.
I've never heard women say that, but
Irene has this very weird ability to call out things that are definitely going to happen in a film straight away. While I was watching A
Good one.
Bug's Life, I think you said right at the beginning, the little ant will fly and the caterpillar will turn into a butterfly.
oh yeah, well, it's just one of
Like
those obvious things.
clairvoyant.
Okay, if it's just storytelling, if you set something up as in this at the very beginning of a story, a character has a problem, and there's a logical conclusion towards how that character would evolve, and they're a major character, or not, they don't even need to be a major character, but if it's mentioned, then it'll pay off. And if it doesn't pay off, that's a shit story. But I know that these aren't shit stories because they've been out for a while. Everybody says they're good, so that means this is going to happen. The little princess ant is going to fly. I didn't know ants could fly, but now I know. Bug's Life is educating me. Yeah, that's
like
it.
if they're a queen or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, no, I just been working on, oh my god, I don't know what it is. Like, I think I've been way too exact with my lines on these covers. They took me way longer than they should. I think it's because the composition is simple, so I feel like I need the lines to be perfect. So I've been going over the lines with like a 0.003 pen. It's ridiculous, but sure. They do. I hated this while I was drawing it, but now that I'm done with it, I think it turned out pretty well. So all my pain was worth it.
And is this inked traditionally too? Is this that thing where you do it perfectly and then for some reason you print it out blue and then go over it again?
No, I pencil it digitally and then I print out the pencils in blue line.
Yeah.
And then
have you at least
potato
with the pencils at least.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, no, I have the actual piece. I was holding it up. You just didn't see it. See, here's the actual piece over here.
Oh yeah, she's got it.
Yeah, look.
Nice.
Real art.
He's is he kicking the demon in the balls? It looks like.
Yeah, let's pretend that's what's happening. Let's just say that's what it is. Yeah.
Kicking him in the balls.
Sure.
He's fighting dirty.
Yeah. I watched half of the movie Thief last night. Fair.
Oh yeah, that's Michael Mann. That's a fun one. But the Michael Mann movie you guys all should watch it's called The Driver. Have you heard of this one, Phil? Maybe you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it.
It's so awesome. And speaking of simplicity, I just thought of that, but that totally connects because that one is deliberate. And who's the guy who? So that's the Driver is not Michael Mann. The Driver is the guy who did Streets of Fire, and he did like The Warriors. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I know those movies. I don't know the guy though.
Yeah, but that director, he deliberately tried to make a minimalist, simple movie, and he made The Driver. And they said he wrote the script and he didn't name the characters. So the driver is called The Driver. The woman, the femme fatale, is called The Woman. And then there's like the cop is the bad guy, and blah blah blah. And
who's in that?
It's the guy from Love Story from the 70s. He's like famous, but I can't think of his name either right now. He's in the Kubrick movie Barry Lyndon. Chad will probably know maybe that guy. Ryan, is it maybe the name starts with a Ryan, maybe, I don't know. But he's good in it. He's awesome. And so anyway, that's Walter Hill. Yeah, Walter Hill. And Walter Hill, I've seen in interviews, people are like, "Oh, your movies are so visually interesting." And he's like, "The thing I most take pride in is my writing." And I was like, "Yeah, he is a good writer, but it's funny because he's so minimalist, so people don't give him
Michael
credit.
Mann's awesome because he's from Chicago. Thief is filmed in Chicago and based in Chicago. And all those actors are like from Chicago too. Jim freaking Belushi is in it. I never knew he was in the movie. Brother of John Belushi, R.I.P.
Brian O'Neill, Lucid knows.
Oh, okay.
Henry Bemis. Lucid's here. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Oh yeah, he calls it out. Nice. I read Lucid's book. What's it called? It's the woman. It's like Die Hard, but on a tanker with human trafficking. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? No. Lucid, type the name. But anyway, it was awesome. I read it in one sitting. Highly recommend. It's a fun one.
I got your books. I got Nosferatu,
Oh yeah.
and
Thank
then
you.
Interactivity.
Hey,
Have you read
nice.
Interactivity yet? You should read it ASAP, Phil.
I just got it. I have 2 of them. I don't know the difference.
Oh, they're the
Also-
same. They're just different covers.
Okay.
They're actually, it's Winnie the Pooh is like that guy. If you can tell the difference, I turned that
they're
guy
the same
into Winnie the
person.
Pooh.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the same image. No, because my girlfriend backed it. I didn't realize that, and so I backed it. So.
That's Winnie the Pooh? I thought that was that leader of that country, the China guy.
Ha
No,
ha
the-
ha
the other-
ha.
the other
Honorable
book.
Chairman, and this is Piglet, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah, I got to read that. Maybe I'll read it on a plane or something.
You know what it is? It's kind of just like Creative Block the book in some ways. We talk about
Yeah?
that stuff
Cool.
every week.
That's funny.
He's pre-planned everything we talk about in one book.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Buy the
Yeah,
book.
it's the book that everyone says they'll talk about a storytelling thing and say that's interactivity, and every time it's actually nothing to do with the ideas in that book. People just put that word on like good structural idea.
Sure.
It's the sound smart when talking about storytelling word.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
have a smart storytelling device, you just go, that's interactivity, right? And not
Yeah,
and Pat
that's
will
what I
always-
do.
Pat will always just go, yeah.
Yeah, it's
No
too
matter what
agreeable.
Just
Just
go,
rolls
yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I don't even know what it is. I just think it's like what do you call it? Dramatic irony, pretty much.
Dramatic irony
yeah.
is great.
Sure. It's creating the matrix of possibility in the audience's mind by introducing like minimal bits of information that create a large matrix.
Yeah. Jake definitely gets it. You get
I
it
love
more
it.
than me, maybe.
I don't know what that means.
I love it. It was very helpful for me. You can
Well-
think if you read it and you get the basic principle, you can just make any story. You can just make anything up as long as you use the rule of it. It'll keep the audience engaged whilst experiencing it.
I gotta
Well,
read this
Jake
now.
is the only studious one and good friend who's actually read this book.
Well, I was the one
Uh,
retarded enough to need it, so
Mm.
Can
No.
Can you guys see this real fast? I want to show you something funny. You know tonight's Simplicity. Did you know we did Simplicity 9
I
months
don't
ago?
remember that. Oh my gosh.
So this
Yeah,
should
and
be
I was
fun.
making. Look at my hair. Look
Your
at my hair.
Simplicity show.
Yeah,
I look
And-
exactly the same.
I was making the what do you call it the slideshow for this week. I do have a slideshow. Actually, I was thinking we could just rewatch this together. If you guys
Okay.
So-
Are you serious?
Hold on.
We're gonna have our
Hold
own
on.
show. No.
Before Irene
That is
streams,
not
pull up this thing I have to share because this is the
Ugh.
white background I wanted to show you. This is the one I saw this week that has a white background. That's kind of cool.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the white background covers link into Simplicity too.
Exactly.
Remove
ooh.
other. I have to remove. Oh, it's making me.
Oh, you have to
click all these
remove
buttons.
this one first now, and then
Yeah,
pull
to
this
kick
over.
my my cover.
There's,
Oh yeah, I like
Oh,
that.
cool.
Steve
Yeah,
McNiven
Nice.
and Charles Soule, who's writing everything, which is cool.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
nice.
just the white just it feels like a book for some reason. The white of it.
Comics.
Yeah,
but
the
the simple
retro.
thing would just to watch the old one. Yeah. But I want to do a quick review because I mean, yeah, because everyone forgot their homework for one thing. Apparently,
Nope.
Nobody remembers this, even me. But I was doing the slideshow, and there is a lot of overlap. But I think the new presentation's better. But what did we write? We wrote the
my God.
mentorship from Lou. Do you guys remember that? I'll tell you because Lou told me about Simplicity.
Uh-huh.
Well, we didn't
Compare-
write this. You wrote this.
Yeah, this was. I didn't do a slideshow for that thing. I just did this bullet point thing. Remember my bullet point era? You guys remember?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The single slide shows.
Yeah.
Truly simplistic.
The paradox. How do you tell a long story that is still simple? That is a good question. I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah. American Pie. Is American Pie simple? A little bit.
Has anyone rewatched American Pie recently to see if it still holds up?
No.
I have actually watched it, but I haven't rewatched it recently.
Yeah, I would be scared. Maybe it doesn't hold up. Who knows?
I'm
Or
more
like,
of a- I'm more of a dude, where's my car kind of guy.
does that
I
one
never
hold up?
watched that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I haven't seen that.
Harold and Kuma?
Nah.
Yeah,
Who
Kumar.
was
That's
my
exactly
weed?
his name.
Dude, bro, weed. Harold and Kuma.
No, I'm not into
The
that.
truth
is
is
a-
in the ether, Ben.
Yeah, not even a bad question. I don't think. Although, I mean, maybe it's easy. I feel like it's. I think the truth is simple. So maybe. But I was like, is that a good philosophical question?
I think it is simple.
Okay. People create complication to avoid the truth. Like, I'm just thinking of Aladdin straight away, or like any I can't tell her, I must lie, I cannot reveal the truth. And all of the conflict comes from avoiding the simple truth of yeah, I'm not a prince, actually, I'm a fucking loser. Just the simple truth would be admitting you're a loser. But
He's a
the
thief.
complex Rube Goldberg routine of lies is what springs up when
Yeah.
avoiding.
The truth is simple.
By the way, guys, 47 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here. That is high from the channel.
Woo!
Rini, want to final tease for this? We can talk more about it later. But what's up? Let's wrap up your week and then we'll keep going.
Oh yeah, no, these are just the flasks for the chapter 2 cover. I mean, I will consider showing Jake's colors later, but that will be for later. You must continue watching the show to see
Ooh.
that tease. I will withhold that, but yes,
There's
these
some
are-
story structure for us. We're teasing.
Smart, yeah.
Yes.
Simple.
Ooh.
Creating
Simple.
setups for the
Clock.
payoffs.
Is that interactivity? Is that it?
No.
No, it
Yeah,
is.
maybe not. I don't know. Lance Danger, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, and then I was gonna say real quick, I only have one thing, and yeah, we can talk a little bit more about it too, but it's still developing. But it's next Wednesday, Vatican City comes out, so it's already starting to bubble in the ether. People starting to talk about it. I'm getting little DMs asking for interviews. I am doing them. And so I'll be
Yes.
You
doing
an
a little
interview?
tour.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll be like just going on some channels, just like we all do. Nothing crazy, you know.
Cool.
And but yeah, everything is going pretty smooth, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I'm
Next
not even
Wednesday.
that nervous. I don't think. I don't know how I feel. I definitely maybe I'm a little blacked out from nerves. But
Nah, you've done the work. The book looks great. It's gonna go well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
If
I
you haven't ordered
paid,
Vatican
so-
City yet, do it now.
the thing we're all trying to manifest is 50,000 sales. So everybody get out
Yes.
there and tell your friends, talk about it.
Yeah, you talk
100,000
about it.
sales. Shoot for the
Yeah.
moon.
Or the
Wow.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah, well-
once the full book comes out, I do kind of want to hear what people think about the art because it's not drawn like anything that's been published by me so far.
Well,
Hmm.
good.
It's all
The good thing too
traditional.
is if the book sells well and the stores sell out, then they have to reprint it, and that's when you get that reprint number 1. That's gold right there.
You want the reprint
Yeah.
and the reprint endorphins. You want that to
Yeah.
happen, then it'll be a success in your mind.
Yeah, and they're substantial too. They're over 30 pages each, right?
Yeah,
Something like that?
yeah, they're like not exactly double issues. They're like 1.5 issues.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks for doing that.
Simplicity.
Yeah. What do you guys think of my simplistic design for the
Very simple.
What are these black marks on this page? Like those shouldn't be there. That's too
They're called
complex.
letters.
That's too ornate. I don't like that.
Simply City.
The way they curve so elegantly, too elegantly, you might say.
Too elegantly, too ornate. How dare you ruin this perfect blank sheet?
These are called letters, Rini. I don't know if you've heard of them.
What? Me
In
no.
your Cro-Magnon
word.
unevolved brain.
No.
These are not bones.
Word.
Rini, these
Me
are
look
not
picture.
bones and bananas. These are letters.
Me look picture. That's why me draw comics.
You didn't even capitalize the S.
Yeah, that's how simple. No, but are you guys ready? I'm about to blow your guys' mind.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
So here's slide 2.
I'm ready to get blown.
Oh my god.
I think that's what you would call a coincidence.
No,
Amazing.
see that this is one of my theories. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think one day Frank Miller was looking at the word simplicity, and he was in his career. He's like, I've been doing all this crap. I'm not really getting everything. I've worked with Hollywood a little bit, not getting my dues. I'm kind of nobody's giving me satisfaction, no respect, despite me being the GOAT. I'm a little pissed off. He's like, I just want to do something real simple, real fucking simple, and just own everyone. And he was looking at that word, and he's like, simplicity, simplicity. Huh?
That's true, though.
Oh.
That's part of why I liked Miller's work is
Simplicity.
Sin City and 300 and all of his indie stuff. It's a very simple concept, but just done really well. And I think that is good storytelling. I think a lot of like we talk about world building and stuff, and I mean I do at least, but none of that, all that stuff should support a very simple structure, right? Because that's what matters. Or it just gets the concept.
Yeah.
It's like people can't focus. The readers can't focus.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like some stories you just know you're like, this is like a simple story. They're doing it on purpose, keeping it simple.
Yeah,
that
no, I like
is-
stories like that.
Yeah, that can be really fun. I kind of feel like everyone should try and do at least one story like that. And if you're
Yeah.
ever in a rut, that's a good thing to do. If you ever like working on and like some stuff like this might come up later, but like it's fair to say probably like Game of Thrones is not simple, but stories are kind of fractal where like you can zoom in to like a scene on Game of Thrones and the scene might be simple, you know?
So Game of Thrones and what I've noticed about Game of Thrones and Tolkien's work, it's very complex, but it still works because it's a lot of very simple character arcs and very focused, straightforward. You know what each character is about, but they're just all intertwined. But every story for every person is very clear.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And yeah, keeping that in every like learn whatever you can learn from simplicity can totally apply to what we would perceive as not simple stories or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all very useful. But yeah,
Garcia's got it. Simp City. There you go. That's the next slide.
that's
right?
the new one. That's where we are now. Yeah.
Oh God.
That I mean the Sin City, it's almost like a Simp City story. Marv
Oh,
is a
it
simp.
is. Oh no.
But-
Oh yeah, Marv for sure. He was like a big simp in Sin City. Big simp.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Simping for Goldie,
A
man.
character or whatever. It's
Mm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that story is like it's because the reason why I think that there might actually be something to this is because the art is also like deliberately ripped away to become the simplest thing possible, but still being awesome, obviously.
Simple
Yeah.
And
art.
so he made the real simple story. The first one especially, it's like it really is totally simple. And then the super simple art combining it's like the simplest book ever. Probably his most successful book maybe. I don't know if that's fair to say.
Gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miller and Mignola are the artists that come up when it comes to like really simple art styles that communicate well. Simple in the best way possible. And I love studying Mignola. His that's like simplicity at its best and communication using light and shadows. Do a show about
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah,
guys-
his visuals, because simplicity can go with the visuals. A simple story goes well with simple art.
Yeah,
Like,
especially both of their layouts are really good, but with Mignola, the art style is so simple that just the angle of every shot and the way every panel is proportioned and every things beyond just a drawing matter, and it all feeds into the storytelling.
yeah. People are talking in the chat a little bit. I think they might have mentioned Hard Boiled, which is another. Here, I'll throw that up, Jake. It's another.
Well, Hard Boiled is kind of the art is like the
Yeah, right
opposite,
here.
isn't it?
Yeah, that one, the art is crazy, but I feel like the story is still simple. But I
Yeah.
kind of forget. It's been a while since I read that one. But
I wonder if they're because that's kind of this 90s action. I'm in the middle of watching Demolition Man. Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing now. That whole 90s action hero, 80s and 90s style of action storytelling is super straightforward and simple and unashamed of them just being straightforward and like let's just punch things, and that works really well. And I wonder if part of the problem with a lot of modern stories is they've lost that. They're like everything has to be complex and subverted or multi-layered, when you can just decide this is what we're gonna do and we're just gonna stick with it.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I have some. 'Cause now I'm flicking through Sin City. I'm actually having some thoughts about this. Simplicity is immediacy, and it makes things easier to understand. That whole like, oh, why does everything have to be complex now? It's the insecurity of complexity. Like, what someone thinks, oh, if I just do something black and white, no, I need full color, otherwise people won't think it's cool. Like, even the shot choices in something like Sin City are very basic shots. Like, I mean, you even have one of those classic freaking, I just drew the character exactly side on, that looks like a high schooler chose the shot, but it still looks good. Like, these are very simple framings as well. It's not just the black and white. Like the simple paneling from last week, it's immediacy of understanding. And it when it comes to like writing as well,
Look at that.
it's like,
Oh my
That
God.
shot so
But
good.
it's letting yourself use broad concepts, and what I guess people, we would call it simple. Some people might think
Yeah.
it's hashtag basic and not
And
want
now,
to do it.
is Sin City like manga sized, or it's smaller than real comics, right?
It's
Yeah.
smaller than an actual real proper comic, but this is a manga.
Okay, so it's a little bigger. It's like halfway
Oh,
in
yeah.
between.
Well,
And I think the other thing is, I think he sold it as graphic novels. Like, was it released as floppies or was it just graphic novels?
so it's been published multiple ways. It first appeared in Dark Horse Comics Presents, which was a comic-sized magazine, I'm pretty sure. And so the chapters were serialized in that anthology, and then it was collected in this format. They also have a regular trade paperback comic size version as well, which I have.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's good history. Thanks, Phil. That's interesting. That's funny. That's kind of a humble beginning for such a classic. That does happen a lot, though, when you hear about these things, about the way these classics start or whatever.
I grabbed
for
Demo
multiple mediums.
because it's like the same size and it's like simple black and white too. Becky Cloonan, the female Frank Miller.
It's female Sin City.
Yeah, is
Uh,
this
Real quick, let me read this Michael Dishe super chat so we can get it off the screen. Thank you, Michael. Though I mean, not that I don't like it on the screen. It's great.
You're like, damn it, why'd you super chat and make me read it?
Yeah, the Braun Design School embraces simplicity, less but better, and the strength of the pure. I like less but better. I heard, yeah, well, less with more or whatever. Or I like all that. It's that creates a fun problem. It's hard to figure out. For sure. All right. I got to scroll down, catch up. Okay. We're gonna go to the next slide. What does it say? I forget these. Fractal. Okay, this can go kind of fast, but the fractal thing. I didn't even come up with this. I kind of noticed it, and then I found a bunch of other people also talking about it. But they say manga is like this too. But fractal is a thing in nature where, like, if you zoom in, the pattern keeps repeating, and story structure is kind of fractal. So, like, if you zoom out, your big arcs are like, this 3-arc structure. If you zoom in to like whatever, a chapter, it still has 3 acts. You can zoom into a scene, it still has 3 acts. You can zoom into like a shot or a panel, and it will often, a really good one will still have like a beginning, middle, and end to it, kind of visual storytelling kind of thing. So that's kind of how we touched on this, but if you're kind of like practicing simplicity, it can still be applied to pretty crazy stories, pretty in-depth, complicated stories, because the pieces can be so simple.
Which way around do you guys write your stories? Because from the fractal point of view and keeping it simple, I usually do the skeleton of even if it's a super long story, you just think of the skeleton of all of that. And then the more you drill down, then you make still a simple like story loop or story system, but it's just like a piece of the bigger skeleton instead of freedom of
Yeah,
just
you're saying like
typing.
starting big and then working your way into the story versus
That's
starting within the story then working out. Or...
that's what
I
I'll
think
do.
yeah, I think that's almost necessary unless you're doing something super episodic where there's a return to a status quo. Then I feel like you have to start out big and then zoom into the smaller and smaller fractals. And this is really interesting because something I've realized with writing gaiden, which are side stories in Japanese, and just side stories and bonus chapters, or even just figuring out the details of chapters within the main story, like what character arc should be addressed. I've 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 realized that fractalizing the themes works really well. So not just your main story has a 3-act or 4-act structure, and then each chapter has the same 3-act or 4-act structure, and then each, just like Pear said, every scene and every page ideally also is like a mini story, right? But if you're doing a side chapter, what you can do is take a theme from the main book. Say your main book has themes like, I don't know, vengeance and then regret and all these other themes, but then take one of those themes and explore that in a side story and tie it into the main chapter. So it's not just extra information, it thematically is a fractal of the main story. And I think thinking of each chapter as addressing a theme, thematically being a fractal of the overall plot helps a lot as well.
Yeah, that I think that when I was going over the old Simplicity one, there was one thing we talked about that was how closely related is focus and simplicity, and like something very focused feels like that could also be considered very simple. And that reminds me of what you're talking about a little bit of like if you focus, if focus feels like a good thing for stories to be for them to be
Definitely.
like they're focused on
Yeah.
the theme, so you would have it occurring in different ways, not necessarily repetitive, but in ways to explore more deeply whatever you want the theme to be. There's
For
plenty of
sure.
angles you can
Yeah.
approach it.
I
It doesn't
like
have to be repetitive. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna just the term fractal is something good to focus on because it reminds me of like what Jose was saying when he was on a couple weeks ago and how he lays out his whole story. Those like double page spread like theme boards or story arc boards that he draws is like a fractal of his story. It encompasses that arc and you have the key moments there, and those would be your fractals that you can extrapolate from and focus in on even more. That's why like when I say like people that are getting into writing comics, I think starting with shorter stories really helps you because that's like a fractal of an idea. So you have a character and you want to do a short 4 or 5 page story that encompasses the theme, ideals, shows off what this character can do. That's your fractal that you could grow into a longer story. That could just be like your vignette or your trailer, and that you could then add to those shorter stories and make something larger.
Yeah, speaking of trailers, that's a really that's a funny way to put it. Is with with the presentation, Jose's presentation last week was amazing, first of all, and having the little storyboard for every chapter is a great idea. But
Yeah.
like, do you guys this happens with me, so I don't do the whole storyboarding thing that Jose does, but I might start now. But sometimes I have a theme song for a chapter in the future, and I'll listen to that song, and I just have them all in a playlist, and I listen to it, and I can see a trailer for that chapter in my head before it's like 3 or 4 books away, but all the important scenes are already there, and that's kind of like a motivation if I need to get to that story point because I could see the trailer of the comic already.
There was a point in time of with me trying to get better at writing where it was kind of like an epiphany moment of, oh, a good story, you should be able to summarize it in a trailer. Like the best trailers, the best advertising in general
Mm.
is to create story. But so the best trailers, they actually don't represent the story of the movie or the thing, because then it would essentially be like, what's the point in watching it? They kind of take parts of it and are cobbled together like a mini story um for the trailer, and it can be like a snapshot of a character or a boiled down version. But yeah, like that was an important development, thinking about the story in its most bare bones parts. Like this is the character, this is what they can do, this is the world they're going to do it in, here are the people they're going to do it with, and here are the people they're going to do it against. um and thinking of it that way let you create
Mhm.
like a very basic system of your story.
Yeah. Very good. That's true. If you can
Yeah,
simplify it in your head, that helps you focus. Um,
It's like
yeah,
a hospital and a bomb are two very simple concepts. But the hospital after the bomb explodes is a very complex scene.
yeah.
Oh
That
yeah,
is a
sure.
little bit what I kind of thinking about for this presentation. We might get into some of that kind of stuff. And we talked a little bit about that last week. I think like what, like even like One Punch Man, like you say what it's about in one sentence, but it can go on for 100,000 pages or whatever. And then you're
Well,
like, what? Okay, what
Right.
is even there? What? I'm curious to even see what it is, because if they say what it's about, it's like, yeah, it's about a guy who gets so powerful that he can beat everyone in one punch, and so he's really bored.
okay, no. Here's
that
here's
sounds terrible.
here's probably the version of the summary of One Punch Man that you might not hear people say more often. The structure of One Punch Man is, what can we do to keep the hero Saitama away from the problem long enough for a story to happen, because then he will just show up at the end and one punch it. So the
Oh,
whole
that's
point
great.
of One Punch Man is kind of like keeping him away from the problem.
Yeah. Oh man, that is funny. Because if you think about that, that's structural. That's a little bit like how Columbo, people respond to that so strongly. And I don't know, I think it almost might count as dramatic irony for both those things. Because the
Mm.
audience, it's like very entertaining and you can do it over and over again. And each one will be different, but they're all the same. And the audience kind of likes that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just keep doing it. But
The way I get
that's a whole other way to approach it, to think of like a kind of original structure that usually will involve dramatic irony that you can do over and over again.
Wackass has a
Yeah.
good point about the fractal thing. Every story is basically a bunch of little scenes, vignettes. You get a bigger theme and plots, and then make a bunch of little vignettes and scenes. You get point A to point B. Yeah, that's why I think writing shorts is really teaches you how to pace things out, and then connect story beats as well.
Well,
Mhm.
keeping it small and simple too. It's like my writing for these episodic Connell stories. Oh, I want to make something big, but it's only 30 pages. And so each scene has to do tons of stuff at the same time, but not feel like, oh, here's 50 plates being spun. So it makes you think of what is the most immediate way to communicate these ideas simultaneously, and it lets you think of really boiled down ideas,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
also
you know, I'm like confused about this myself about how I feel about it, cuz in theory I feel like if I identified what a scene was trying to do as I'm watching it, that would annoy me. Like I really wouldn't like that. But at the same time I can imagine sometimes you do that and you just give it a little golf clap. You're like, "Oh, so elegant. So nice."
well, okay, Bancroft in the chat, one thing from him about writing, he would write down a bullet point list of what he wants to get done in a
Mm.
story or a chapter or a scene, and then he will think of a scene that fills that shopping list. I've done that since he mentioned that too, and it makes you think of something really efficient. I used to do it the other way, where it's like, I'll just think of something funny or something fun and string it together, and then maybe it'll work. And now, after doing the show for a while and hearing everyone's methods, completely flipped. I do the Bancroft shopping list method, of like what's the best, most focused way to convey all of these ideas at once. And there's usually a really clever idea, and it ends up being like way better than you would have thought of if you were just, I'll just write something funny, haha.
Yeah,
I've-
the shopping list idea does work. I do something similar where I just jot down bullet points of like sentences of this is what we need to achieve every chapter, and I tend to extrapolate a proscript from those bullet points. But I guess like what I personally do is bullet points for this is what's necessary. So come up with solutions and scenes that match these problems that you need to solve, these plot points that you need to address. These are the things that we need to show. These are the things we need to establish. And the step after that is doing it in an interesting way. So asking how every scene can be a little unexpected, how to play these scenes and answer these questions in ways that you haven't done before. So I think that's generally how I approach it. But it starts with something simple, right? Because that keeps your storytelling grounded.
But
Yeah.
even with the shopping list approach, say you get the first or second version of the story, and it so often early on it'll do the Simpsons thing where it's like the first scene, Homer gets a trampoline out of the newspaper, and then like by the halfway point of the episode, it has nothing to do with it anymore. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like but instead when you get like a top-down point of view of the whole story, and you notice like, oh, the beginning isn't really that related to the first, it got us there but it's not related. Like, what is the most important part of these later payoffs, and how can I alter the beginning to actually tie into that better? And it's usually through theme, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Or like if you bring something up, making it pay off. Here's a fun way to make readers to create the illusion that you planned everything from the start. If you're telling a long form story, just bring back characters and elements from the early chapters later on randomly, and people will think you planned so well.
Yeah, sometimes you can surprise yourself because you'll forget about a character, and then you just like, oh, I fucking forgot about them, and you bring them back.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yes, my favorite character. You're like, oh,
Sometimes it happens. It's like, oh, they just fit here, so that's great.
By the way, real quick, we got 48 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here. The chat is very engaged, posting lots of good stuff. Everyone's talking. This is fun, and we're talking about simplicity, but a lot of this is just like good general storytelling stuff. And you know, we started this show like 2 years ago or more. And I thought when we started it, I was like, we'll get through all the discussions about storytelling in like a couple of weeks. But no, you can go on for years. There's plenty to talk about. So it's kind of fun.
Storytelling in general is the most innate human thing outside of survival. So it's simple but complex. You could fractalize the show forever, probably.
I don't think we can run out of things to talk about. And we don't even just talk about storytelling. It's comics and art. So we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
That talk, talking on about bringing a character back or whatever, or like surprising yourself like that. So I heard that the creator or the writer of The Shadow, who I think he holds the Guinness Book record for the person to write about a single character most. He wrote over 280 shadow pulps in his lifetime. They said that he had like drawers of note cards for every character that he had in the series, and like how they died or if they're still alive, so he could bring them back and reference them and stuff like that. Like, and that's insane. Like, he was writing, I think, 4 pulps a month at his height of doing
Now, when
that.
you say pulp, is that like a dime novel you're talking about? Or
they're stories published in magazines, like the Shadow magazine.
Okay.
Was a pulp magazine that had also some other characters in it, but yeah, they were pulp.
That sounds cool. I don't know anything about The Shadow, but I want to look more into it now because there must be a pretty rich world and lore there if there's that much written about him.
For sure.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Michael Dicha has a great comic. They're writers who not only map out the action of a scene or sequence, but also the beginning and end emotional state of each character through the scene. Yes, absolutely. I think a good way to establish chapters is, well, here's a chunk of the story that has a mini beginning, middle, and end, but have all the major characters shift in emotional state throughout the chapter. Then it feels really rewarding.
Him mentioning the emotional state change, that's probably more important than the action a lot of the time. Like, that's what the action gets you there, but focusing on the internal change, because a story is just how a character develops over the course of events rather than the events. If you just talk about the events, people are gonna fucking fall asleep.
Yeah, they want to see the change happening. So, like, action is a great way to have that happen. And in American comics, it's action is, well, for superhero comics, it's a staple of the medium. But there are ways to have characters change and to have conflict presented with other than just physical fights. And as long as there's something happening and characters are being challenged, then it's entertaining, right? You're just not sitting around talking about nothing in a coffee shop, then it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, what was I gonna say about
I don't know.
You were gonna press.
I wonder, what were you gonna say?
You were gonna reveal which letters are taken away from Fractal to reveal.
Oh yeah, can we even do that? What is the next? Let's look at the next slide, I guess.
You just take
I was gonna say
FR
something.
and AL.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say, guys. I had a little fantasy just now. This is cheesy, so don't laugh at me. But what if this channel, like us four and everyone in the chat now, so 46, this is the hub, and we're all gonna go on to make the next generation of great works.
That would be great.
Sure.
Let's hope that happens. Fingers crossed.
Well,
Let this be spoken into reality.
Here's the thing. We've turned this into a show, so we actually do it every week, and we actually have a multi-hour conversation about this stuff a week. Like, in the modern world, what is this even turned into? People don't meet up and hang out and have the kind of like Inkling style discussion that Tolkien had.
Yeah.
People have Facebook chat groups.
No, exactly.
And they don't ever have an engaging conversation.
Yeah,
there's so many writers groups, but I'm sorry, a lot of them are not. You don't get the same kind of discussion that we do here. So I'm glad that we have the show, but this isn't just like, I don't know, as waxing poetic about what we know about storytelling. I like exploring and learning about storytelling, which is what we're doing here. And it's really hard to find. Like, I've tried to join writers groups, and most of the time people just seem afraid to talk about subjects, or people don't want to engage, or there's just not enough trust for people to be honest, or go and say anything or do their research. So it's unproductive, and this is great. So this is how you learn.
It being a show, I suppose you could do a similar thing if you were like doing an on-stage discussion down a local pub, or you were like some public speaker. Because it's for an audience, you have to actually focus what you're saying, make what you're saying simpler and concise.
Yeah, we could keep all the slurs out of the conversation, or we have to, you know.
Yeah.
I was watching 2000 AG put out a interview with Simon Bisley a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about working on Slain for 2080, Slain the Horned God, which he fully painted. And he was talking about talking to Pat Mills on the phone for hours during that whole project, and, you know, kind of like seeing him as a mentor, even though they're pretty close in age and stuff. But like hearing that was so cool. Like, I always love hearing about those interactions in the old days of writers and artists together, and them having to be on the phone talking about the craft, the work that they're crafting.
Like the hubs that formed around that or whatever. Some of them are like obvious, everyone talks about, like if it's George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Francis Ford Coppola, and I'm forgetting a few, but they were all friends. There was like a generation of students, and that's crazy. But you know, another comic one is Frank Miller and Chris Claremont taking a road trip together from California to like Seattle or something, and they were
Wow.
talking about Wolverine the whole time, and they were like, you know what, Wolverine's actually like a samurai, and that blew both their minds at the time.
Yeah.
Now we say it and we're just like, yeah, whatever, he's like a samurai. Everyone
Right.
knows that. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
But they like invented that on a road trip and then wrote a book about it. Frank Miller drew it. It's one of the classics, you know.
It's amazing.
So,
Yeah, that's so cool. And it's like, even though the internet has connected us into a world wide web and information and communication is so readily available, I feel like you still don't have that. I mean, kind of like in our sphere, because we don't have a lot of, I don't know, people that are working together like that, and having like a machine that's driving them to work together as creators. And it's kind of it's unfortunate, you know. Yeah, of course the grass is greener, but I long for those times of, you know, the studio environment, or working with someone that we can learn from each other as we move forward and have like really long conversations about the stuff we're crafting.
yeah, you kind of got to like go out of your way to soak it up from random sources and get what you can out of it. You know,
Sure.
that still kind of works, I think. But
If
it
I
is,
think-
it's like, yeah.
if anyone
Like
in the chat has
physical.
go on, Irene. Sorry.
I was just gonna say physical proximity is part of the what I see part of the issue with comics as well, and especially in America, because it's a gigantic country, and or just comics in the West in general. And in the past, you had New York; it was all in New York, but it's not anymore. And for film, at least you have everybody's in Hollywood, right? And I noticed with manga and anime, everyone is in Tokyo. Another example of those artist groups is so many famous directors in anime all worked on Akira. It's shocking how many people come from just working on Akira. But we don't have that, so we have to find people online.
Well, I mean, so I don't know if I bet they still exist. But I've been to drink and draws. Like I went to one in Seattle in like 2015 or something, and like I know there was a group there doing it. There's like this animation group meetup that happens in like Newcastle upon Tyne in England. Like I bet there are like Pat, you even mentioned a life drawing group or whatever that you wanted to go to some Thursdays. Like I bet there are little conversation groups that meet up IRL
For sure.
to do a similar thing. It's just, I mean, I'm never looking for them.
Well, that's the thing too, and that's the internet. And now we're not out there hanging out at bars, sketching, or going to comic shops and hanging around there. Now we're here watching our streaming services, you know, and very comfortable and almost stagnant in that, you know, it's almost all the connectivity that is at our fingertips now has just regressed us into stagnant in our cubes and not forcing us to go out and meet people, because we're like, oh, we're talking to people all the time here.
Well,
you know?
Admiral Wackass saying drink and draws are just to get laid. It is one of the problems.
Is that why all the drink and draws I've been have had really weird vibes, and I've just been like, I'm not comfortable.
It's like human nature is always going to come in, and it becomes not about the craft, even in those meetups that are potentially supposed to be about the craft. So,
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I have tried to go to drink and draw. So I've moved a lot, and every city I go to, I'm like, I want to find art friends, and it's so hard. And it's not because there aren't people who just draw or draw comics. There are very few people that are as serious about it as us. Everybody on panel and in chat, we're all very serious about comics, and a lot of people in chat are creators as well. And it's just not a lot of people are that high investment, and it's kind of hard to talk about something if they're not like, I want to make this my whole livelihood, right?
It's not even it's not even taking it so seriously. It's just be cognizant of suspending the typical social dynamics of groups of humans, and like to choose to be this different thing that isn't just a social machine, and it is thinking about an art form for a contained period. But yeah, if I went along to a drink and draw, I'm sure there would be some hierarchy in play already.
Right, because you're the new person there, and it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know anybody.
You'd end up sitting next to the other person who's no one else is sitting next to and having a weird conversation.
I went to a
Yeah.
couple, and I don't draw, so I was just sitting there.
Where did
You
you
know-
go?
You know, one I don't get sometimes is if you look at. So I only know movie, but this must also apply to comics somewhat. But like you just with Star Wars, I guess and John Williams. So John Williams, how did they meet? How did John Williams and George Lucas meet and work together? Where you know what it has to be such a perfect storm when you line up all the things that have to be top of the game to make Star Wars. How come some of them didn't suck? Like everything was great. It feels like it, it almost feels like it was like divine intervention or whatever. Like I don't know how the math works for.
I do think the universe allows those things to coalesce, and it's not the butterfly effect that we've been sold, where like these things had to line up perfectly. It's like there was a gravity well in time space, and the right people fall into the well to combine to make that event take place. It's reverse butterfly effect.
Lots of LSD.
Yeah. Well, so that was a little meta diversion from. So we'll get back here. See
Well,
what the
I
next
mean,
thing.
you can
Oh,
bring
look at
up
that.
one chat
Wow.
before it goes away. Bring up
Amazing.
Edwin's.
That's great.
Look at my design.
You've
Look at-
minimized it. You've minimized it.
Actual
It
minimalism.
hits you like a ton of bricks. You ever been hit like by a ton of bricks before? That's what it feels like.
No, we wouldn't be alive if we
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, I think I'd be dead.
1 ton.
Why
That's
didn't
what-
you make loads of smaller versions of Fractal coming off from the original Fractal?
Oh, maybe, but that
Yeah.
wouldn't have been even so minimalist. I don't even know.
I'm looking forward to seeing how many different ways Pear can warp text for the rest of this presentation.
I impressed Storytime with Friends. He goes based. The word
Well,
minimalism is small.
Storytime with friends. He had another comment up, and he said he's at the point where reading a new superhero story, prefer the classic form instead of trying to twist it.
Right. Well, we talked about that on here before, where you can only subvert so much, right? That's what killed the Western film genre, because you have the classic Western, which reigned for 30 years of cinema, and then the spaghetti Western came out, which is a subversion of the classic white hat Western, right? Instead of the gallant hero riding into a storm of Native Americans, you have this almost outlaw man in it for himself who wears the gray hat, and he's the anti-hero spaghetti Western. And that exploded like within the span of 10 to 20 years. There's 700 spaghetti Western films. Everybody in Europe was making them, and it collapsed the genre. And then for the next 40 years, no one made Westerns. And that's what's happening with superheroes. You have the classic superhero stuff, the 1980s of the subversion of the superhero with the Watchmen. And still that's going on. You have The Boys and all of that. And now that's coming into mainstream pop culture media. And it's longing for the days of those classic superhero stories. A lot of people.
Yeah. So then it might die, which is a natural next step,
Right.
I guess. But it's also a little
Mhm.
bit sad. Yeah. That's
it's
interesting. That sounds true. That sounds true to me.
The-
With minimalism, do you guys think minimalism and simplicity are similar? And like even in regards to Sin City, like Sin City, we can all agree it's simple. Is it also minimalist? That's my question. to you.
well,
I don't
minimal
think-
still achieves the same thing by keeping stuff focused, right?
Yeah.
You're not.
Are you
gonna-
talking about the art or the storytelling, though?
Oh,
Because I
Both.
wouldn't say Sin
BOLF.
City is minimalist. It's simplistic, as in for simplistic the word simplistic evokes more just straightforward to me. Because Sin City can have very detailed panels, so it's not minimalist. But
I would say
It's pretty
Pear's
minimal.
art is minimalistic.
Yeah.
What do you
I'm okay
think,
with
Pear?
yeah.
Hold some of it up. Were you just gonna do that? Oh
Some of
This
your
guy right
art.
here.
no. Yeah.
Amazing.
No, look at this.
That's a great
Um,
cover.
Anything in here you can pull up. Look, it's
Yeah.
me. Look, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
You look like an 18th century gentleman.
That's what my girlfriend's like. I need to read this because it looks like you in the book.
I mean, again, it creates focus, and the opposite is kind of like the insecurity of over detail. Like although Irene, you'll detail stuff up, but it'll still be focused.
Well, yeah. Focus always comes before detail. Like it's detail in both art, visual art, and story stuff, like world building, doesn't make something better by default. I think that's important to learn. I had to learn that.
It's like all of these words. What is the commonality? The common thing they force you to achieve is focus.
Yeah. Yeah, focus is, I think that's the one thing that's super important with storytelling, is you can dress it up with pretty art and detailed art and a ton of world building, but if there's no focus
Yeah.
and there's no
Yeah,
point
if-
to every scene and every panel, then why would the reader be invested, right?
Yeah. Like you could actually maybe have minimalism without focus, and that kind of sounds like that would actually be terrible.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, that's just really simple, but there's no point to the simplicity. It's just
Yeah.
your own farts.
Yeah, that actually might be like a 3-year-old's drawing or something.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you
go.
I would imagine a lot of white space and a lot of
Yeah.
indiscernible lines, you know.
But one thing too, like the idea of if you use the word focus, you actually like have to identify something to focus on, and that alone, you're on the right track. And I do think there's a phase where you're not doing that as much early on with comics and writing. It definitely is a good step to kind of set goals for what you're trying to focus
Man,
on.
if you want to talk about the importance of focus, every fucking film now, everything is in the same focus all the time, and everything's lit the same
Oh,
glitzy
God.
stuff. Everything is. You're like, why do I care? What am I even looking at?
You're talking about like just the visuals of the modern HD digital
Yeah.
cameras, right? Where,
Yeah.
man, I am so appreciative of the early 2000s or older films where Lord of the Rings looked that good because that was shot on real film, right? Am I wrong? Or was it digital?
Yeah.
Either way, it looked
I
great
don't know.
because there's
Probably.
focus. Like things in that weren't important were blurry, and that's good. I don't need to see every fucking follicle.
Well, that's why I don't know if it was The Hobbit or a different later film. It's why that looks so.
Oh,
shit,
garish.
because he filmed it on like 50 million frame per second 3D cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, I think we're going through this hellscape period of, well, CGI can make everything ultra clear, so let's just do it with no concern for if it gets in the way of the story.
Well, I mean, look, even lower frame rates film or whatever, with that comes like motion blur, and that's when you're simplifying a visual down to show a direction of travel, even like the blurred form.
Yeah, which you can take advantage in comics, you know.
In video games, it looks shit. Don't put motion blur on your video games. That's a completely different world.
So Chad is
Yeah.
talking about going too far with simplicity. What examples would you guys say? Can you guys think of that are going too far?
Think of some
Okay.
shitplicity.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I know
going,
it's actually a little bit hard, but real quick with that, I was thinking, I have an idea that I might never do, but it would just be, it's so loose, but it would be like, it all takes place in like a desert or a snowy tundra. So the background is always a straight line, but like the perspective can still change, like how far people are away or whatever.
You know what? If you're doing that, you should the line should get thinner or bigger, like say it's mounting or something, depending on like the intensity of the part of the story, like just like a heartbeat monitor or a sound wave.
Yeah, that could be a cool twist in the end if the desert horizon line becomes the heartbeat. That could be a
Yeah.
cool abstract
That'd
thing.
be cool.
Like as the action peps up, it's like in a more rocky area or there's mountains in the background. So the same way that like the loudness of the storytelling, it can be
Mhm.
reflected in the jaggedness of the horizon line. It's just
That
just
would
a
be
thought.
interesting. Like an interesting subconscious thing.
Mm.
Yeah. But what is there, yeah, something that's so minimalist that it actually kind of sucks. I
mean,
saw, this is random, but I saw a movie called Waiting for the Barbarians. If anyone knows that, that was very minimalist
No.
and simple, and I hated it. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I
What
hated
was
it.
shit about it though? Where did the simplicity make it bad?
Well,
Was
that,
it
so that one, I
dragged
think
out?
it was like, yeah, it was like, everything was, I forget what the word is, but where it's like a legend or whatever, you know, but so they don't do any historic detail, but there's just like soldiers at an outpost and they work for the, like they call them the empire, and then there's barbarians in the mountains. So, you know, it kind of maps over Britain and in India or whatever, but it's not that. They deliberately change it to make it, what's the word I'm thinking? Chat might know. It's a blank. It's like a fable. I think they make it a fable maybe. And yeah, and it was utter trash. It was just the trashiest trash.
Utter trash.
The
Yeah.
chat is
So that's the lesson. Don't be trash if you do minimalism.
the chat's
think,
great tonight. I like these
yeah.
simple subjects get people's minds going. This is great.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Actually, Camel is right. That's kind of why I didn't like it, because I would have preferred they just made it about British actual dealing with it shit in India rather than like going super wishy-washy, broad, simple minimalist, but also like, yeah, way more vague and about everything kind of.
I don't like when in mangas the artists will draw characters with no eyes because for whatever reason. Or face.
Oh, yeah. If they're further in the background, so they just have like.
Yeah, but I've seen it where it's not even that far in the background.
Oh, that's weird.
And it's like there's like
Show
no
expression, Phil. It's
facial features.
it's an expression thing.
I don't get it.
Yeah, or it's just manga is high iconization, so I can.
Yeah.
That's just a shorthand.
You know what's really simple that I sometimes love it, sometimes hate it, but it's Titanic. Titanic is
Titanic? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no reason to watch that movie.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah, it was,
I hate it.
That in that case you go it's too on the nose is sometimes why
right.
you don't
I
like it.
think being too on the nose, that's a good way to put it. I don't think it's just, well, it's too simplistic. It's more, everything's very on the nose. You know what to expect, and it's not just there's no twists, but I think Bancroft mentioned in chat, there's no subtext. And you can be simplistic, but it's boring if there's absolutely no subtext. The story is just what's presented on the surface. It's formulaic, and the audience knows what to expect. And
It's
it could be
expected.
still expect. Yes, I say things funny. Shut up. It's the audience knows.
I was thinking the same thing. Everything's expected. If
Yeah,
you're watching
yeah.
a film and it's everything you expect.
Yeah, and it's well done technically, but it's still boring, and there's no compelling substance to it.
Yeah, what's the other one? Pearl Harbor? I thought Pearl Harbor was unwatchable. So long.
Yeah, you knew that what was gonna happen. Same
Yeah,
thing
that
with
thing
Titanic.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, that came out right after Titanic. It was that same formula kind of. People really
Yeah.
didn't like it.
Bancroft's being spicy tonight. I wasn't expecting that from him.
He has a parasite. I think he just got over his sickness.
Oh no. Yeah, that's why.
King Camel says the subtext, but that's like the above text, what you just said, King Camel. That's the text.
Oh god. All these movies where you go back and watch them and you just fucking hate the characters. Like it's like Rose was shit. She was a bitch. Fucking Jenny was a bitch. The Queen in Bug's Life. I know I just watched it, but I hear a bunch of people like when A Bug's Life came out, that was the love interest, and I cannot stand this fucking Queen Ant. She's so annoying.
That was
I haven't seen it
all
since I was a
female
kid.
love interest in that period. Basic biznitch, where it's like, why is the guy
basic.
even interested in her? And the guy is basically being a simp for her the whole film.
It's a type of personality that I've seen kind of portrayed in that early 2000s media a lot, and it's like, ooh, this is a love interest, but it's like you basically are not have no real solutions, are not a leader, but get put on a pedestal because you're good at bureaucracy
She does
and towing the
basically
line.
She does nothing but whine the whole film, and then she gets made queen as some reward, and it's like,
Terrible leader. Even this is also why I don't like Elsa. Elsa's not a good leader. Why the fuck do people like this movie? Stop me before I continue. Stop me.
Stop, Irene. Stop, please.
Well, that applies to like a slide coming up here. Let me see. Is it the next one? Redraft. That's like a separate thing. Pitch is like a separate thing. There's so much we could talk about. But here's so the character. Why are you giggling? I missed my...
I love this moment.
Oh yeah.
The moment in every presentation where it's like the person presenting gets tired of their own pace. It's just looking at a couple of slides at once.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about. We'll go back, and if it's interesting, the pitching is interesting, and simplicity plays into it. But we've kind of been talking about though, like identifying the theme, focusing on it, sometimes knowing your ending, all that kind of stuff, zooming out. But sometimes with simplicity too, if you can say it in one sentence, that is like a little bit more rare, which puts you in a category where you're telling a simple story at that point, and that is fun. Like it's fun. Not everything can be pitched in one sentence, but it's not like it's a necessity, but it is fun, and I do love it if you have something like that. It's fun to think about those kind of things. But here, this real quick too, this is like the world can be super simple, the plot can be super simple, or the character can be super simple, or they all three can be, or they could be simple or not simple. But there's like a whole form of story that's like a really simple character story, but then it can actually be a little bit complicated over here. Especially with the world.
Oh,
the world can be super complicated.
Is it one of those you can only choose two? You can't have fast, quick, and cheap. Like if it's fast and quick, it's expensive. You know what I mean? Or if it's cheap and fast, it's low quality. Like so, character.
How do you discern fast and quick?
Oh, sorry. I guess
good, fast, or cheap.
Quality, right?
Good, fast, or cheap.
Oh, good.
Three. Did I just do two of the same? Sorry.
I think so.
No, that's the whole. If you're commissioning artists, you can have good, fast, or cheap, and you can only have two of the three.
So can you only do that with your story? You can only have complex characters, complex world, and complex plot would be too much. Like you can put a complex character through a simple plot and a simple world.
Yeah, I wonder if that's even true. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be just a mix and match thing, but
I think if you just have, I can't think of examples off the top of my head, but if you have at least one of these be really simple, I think that's a really good formula. Talking about this has me really worried about Song of Ice and Fire, because I think the major problem is none of these three things are simple with that dang story, and I think that's a problem, because like you're right, you can have really complex world. That is the one thing where you can be mega complex about, and it's actually hard to make it super simple, right? Unless it's like video game level. But character and plot, if it's super straightforward and memorable, then that's almost always better.
Well, let's say you have a complex world and a complex character, and you're like, fuck, what do I do? Just use a simple plot. Like, say, at the end of a story, when you've had 1 million characters and the world has all these different magical elements to it, the simple plot is they all fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, You just
Is
be
that
bad.
like what's the manga that you guys like about the guy who walks around and does nothing and it's super boring?
Berserk?
Free Ren.
No,
Off!
no, not it's none of those. It's the one where he like what he like.
Can you please kick both of them? What are you Mushishi?
Yeah, Mushishi. Yeah, is Mushishi like
He
that?
doesn't
Is
do
it?
nothing. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Monkey Key.
But is Mushishi complicated character, complicated world, simple plot? Is that what it is?
It's kind of simple. It's simple plot and character, slightly complex world. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mushi, which are the creatures that the main character is dealing with, are complex. There's a whole system to it. They're these magical creatures, but the character is very imprintable, simple. You don't know much about him, and the world is also very agrarian and simple. I mean, the plot. Yeah, the plot is set in agrarian, simple world, so the plot is straightforward.
Is it?
What's agrarian mean?
Like it's ancient Japan. It's just like farmlands and stuff. It's
Oh,
not like
okay,
"Ooh,
yeah.
there's some political schemes. It's
Agriculture.
just farmers dealing with weird creatures.
Agriculture, agrarian.
Yeah, I like
Agrarian.
that. Yeah, that's interesting that there's an example of a simple world because that, yeah, slice of life is kind of like that. If you're like, it's just our world, and you're like, well, our world's complex, but it can also be kind of simple.
Well, okay. Seeing as you're laying this down in the format of a pitch and you have like character, plot, world juxtaposed, boring simple is simple elements that don't play off each other, that don't create a large matrix of possibility. So, boring man, boring world, boring plot, or like everything's the same. Instead of contrasting elements that can create a huge matrix, like here's a neurotic character, and then they go to Happy Land where everyone isn't neurotic. Those are two
Yeah.
very basic elements. Because of the contrast between them, they create a large matrix of possibility. Plus, the simplicity of those elements let the audience get excited for those possibilities because they can be semi-predictable.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of is like, what if you had a guy, just a contrarian, but maybe I feel like your boy Zach did a comic where this was sort of the concept. There's a contrarian who just has to disagree with any group. He just hates groups, and he gets into trouble every issue. Would just be him
Is that the
pissing
Ballad
a
of
group
No?
of people off. What?
Was that the Ballad of No?
Yeah, I think that might have been that one, but
Well, I mean, Demolition Man mentioned during this stream,
I've seen it.
everyone in the future world is kind of like a collective, and then you bring in the hero and the villain are two very individualistic character types. So they're
Yes.
individualistic types that are in baby communism world, like very basic simplistic elements, but when juxtaposed create a large matrix of semi-predictable possibility.
What a good movie.
mhm.
So
Well
so it's
put.
like the best way I think to make a pitch, it's you're essentially making the system of your story. It's not just like character, plot, world, and you think of them independently. Each element has to create an engaging system of how they play off each other, how they can connect.
How does One Punch Man fit into that? Because I really liked the way you framed that,
Okay.
and I wonder if
Yeah,
this
Yeah, what's
fits
the
into
system there?
The system is like there's this organization of heroes and villains, and there's tons of them, and they're all very unique and elaborate. And One Punch Man Saitama is incredibly simple, incredibly basic, and he has one solution. It's a one punch. So it is this juxtaposition of like, we are this organization and we are all these interesting characters. And he's just, I just want to eat noodles or something. Like he just wants to play video games or something. Like, and the systemization.
it sounds like funny, but then it sounds terrible, and then it makes me want to watch it, I guess, to see if it's actually good.
It's like he has a sidekick called Genos, who's like a robot guy who takes things very seriously and can and considers Saitama, the main character, to be like his master, and Saitama's like, I'm nobody's master, we're just hanging out. You know what I mean? But the Genos kind of like acts like his fucking robot butler, who's like, yeah, I must learn from you. And all One Punch Man did was like 100 push-ups a day, and then he went bald. Like,
Yeah. I do remember that. I don't remember if I read a little bit of the webcomic or what, but I saw him. He talks about like the psychology of training really hard for a while, and it did bear fruit kind of for him because he dedicated his life to getting stronger, but then he just got too strong.
The main dichotomy, the juxtaposition in One Punch Man is simple character who doesn't really give a shit, but is super powerful in a very overly complex world where a bunch of tryhards exist.
Yeah. This is interesting. So Saitama is actually a simple character. And yes. Great Worm here, Big Lebowski, he's a simple character, but he's an iconic character that you would think and you would describe him as a great character, but he's simple. But it's and it is like the system, like dropping him. Jose said fish out of water, but even it is like that, but it's dropping him into a crazy noir plot is what is hilarious. Like, so it's a little more like meta. It's not like, oh, he hates the ocean and we're going to put him on a boat. It's like, this is a character who would never be in this kind of story, and we're going to have all this crazy shit happen to him.
Well, because then the excitement for the audience while they're watching that is being able to semi-predict how this simple character is going to start colliding with this noir story. Like Roger Rabbit, the noir detective, is the juxtaposition of him with cartoon Funland. Like, how are those elements going to collide?
Toontown.
In Connell's a very simple, basic, I just punch the thing and don't think much character. And everyone else in the world takes everything so fucking seriously that they're constantly astounded by how little shits he gives. But it's not like an edgy fuck you simple character. It's like just going about their business simple character. They're not considerate of everyone else's complexity. Just like One Punch Man.
Yeah. Irene, is this one that you watched yet? Have you seen Lebowski
yet?
Okay,
yeah, I just watched The Big Lebowski. I get all the references now.
Yeah. That's like the most referenced movie in history.
So many people reference it. Oh my god.
Now you're not out of your element.
Yeah. Now I'm becoming a real American.
Yes. But we're onto something here. This is interesting to me. I want to write some of this down later so I don't forget it. But it's kind of like the way it's juxtaposing. I think, Jake, have you been using that word? But you're juxtaposing these elements. So if you have a simple character, whatever, that's fine. He can be complex, that's fine. He can be good, bad, doesn't matter. But you got him. It doesn't really matter until you put him somewhere. And once you put him somewhere, then that's where you get the sparks and the magic happening.
Yeah.
And it happens in all sorts of different ways. The audience picks up on that. They pick up on the matrix. The matrix of possibilities that you've created, the sparks.
What would who would be a simple versus a complex character?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Are they all simple? Is every character ever simple?
Like what comes to mind when you think of a simple character?
Like Forrest Gump. Simple Jack. Never go full retard.
Literally.
Very simple wants.
I would say someone with a basic, concise philosophy that they approach the world.
Do you think Batman is a simple character?
That's a good question. Damn it. Because I want to say yes, but I also want to say no. I mean,
simple doesn't mean shallow.
I would say Batman is still simple. Because you can describe in a couple of sentences what he's about and what his philosophy is.
You can just draw him looking angry, saying the word parents, and you get
Well, it's more than that.
Here's my argument, and this is why I think Batman is simple. I would argue that serialized characters are simple characters
Oh,
because
sure.
they're characters that probably on the macro level do not change drastically.
Yeah, and then multiple writers can write them.
Right. And maybe that is different for novels. Like, I don't know, James Bond, probably a simple character as well.
Well,
A character created for an episodic form of storytelling is pretty much going to be a simple character,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
y-
And
In
that's probably it's general. That's not always true. You know, you could probably have Batman have more of a complex arc within a original graphic novel or story arc. You know, that doesn't really affect the outside of things. But usually, he's the constant in his stories.
Yeah, I would say in long form stories, it's not just novels, but non-episodic, long form serialized novels, um, tend to have complex characters. It's hard because most characters are very simple, and I think it works fine. And there's nothing. It's not just there's nothing wrong with it. It works really well, and I think complex characters get in the way. You need to be really skilled to do it right. Like, so Song of Ice and Fire is full of complex characters. Cersei Lannister, I would say, is complex, right? Because she doesn't just have one philosophy. She wants power, but it's complicated how she wants power and why she wants power, how she gets there, and how she gets there keeps changing. And her story is nothing simple because she keeps manipulating a million people, and it's all in the weeds. It's complex, and it's probably the same for everybody else in that story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, is like complex is like it simple is like when they're kind of designed to function in the story, and then complex is maybe a little bit more real, but it's like how we're different. Everyone is different around different people. And like
Mhm.
the psychological concept of like the masks we wear or whatever, you know what I mean? Like if I walk
Yeah,
over to the Y and I'm shooting hoops with a bunch of people, I'm going to be acting super different than if I'm hanging out with you guys.
yeah, I would say in Game of Thrones song, the characters are complex and they feel real, but I sometimes think it gets in the way of the story. And even some characters in Dune, they're so real and complex that it's enjoyable, but I can see why too. A lot of people I've
Yeah.
heard people say Dune gets too in the weeds and is too cerebral, and it's not just that, well, there's too much philosophy. It's just it's all character nuance. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah, nuance and like even contradictions, like
right, yeah, the characters
characters
will
have that.
contradict themselves because real people are not simple. So to write a character and multiple characters that are that complex and feel so real, that's a feat and that's entertaining, but it's not entertaining to everybody. You need a very specific type of like autistic audience that likes that.
Yeah, and so if you were that, because you could do a character like that, that would immediately put you in a zone. Like, so if we're looking at these three, and you're like, okay, I'm doing a character, we're gonna explore how they're different in every situation of their life, and they like us, they contradict themselves and their whatever fears and desires, and that's going to be the story. Like there's one like that. It's called, what's the one like Dostoevsky about getting away with murder? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Crime and Punishment. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Crime and Punishment is like early version of American Psycho. But American Psycho, they made a movie of it, and I don't know if you could exactly say he's complex because he's just crazy,
I
but it does have contradictions.
I'm trying to think of what complex means in the execution. Is it showing
It's
a
when
character?
have you ever like watched a movie? It's a little bit different for movies, I imagine, but it's like it's simpler. But they'll be like, if a character contradicts themselves sometimes, and you'll be like, "Ooh, I didn't expect that," but it does make sense that they would do that. And then all of a sudden, you're like, "This is awesome! I love this person, and I need to know more," or whatever. I can think of only one example. It's kind of rare, but there's one in Do the Right Thing, which is Spike Lee directed that movie from like 1989. And in that movie, there's like racial tensions brewing in one block on a hot day in New York City. And Spike Lee is the main character, and he's the one peacekeeping everyone, trying to make sure shit doesn't get out of hand. and at the end, he's the one who starts the riot, which is
Right.
like awesome. Actually, it makes it hit hard so much.
Well, yeah, I mean that shows a change in character. In the film Thief, James Caan's character, the main character, he has a plan for his life, and he has a
Yeah.
code that he lives by as a thief. He doesn't steal certain things. He only steals diamonds and jewels, right? He's a jewel thief. He doesn't do like insurance fraud or home invasions, right? That's a big thing. And he has literally, it's illustrated as a dream board that he has folded up in his pocket. And he's got like a family, his friend that he wants to get out of jail, his business that he owns. And this is what he aspires for. You know, he just got out of a marriage. He wants to start a family with his new girlfriend. And by the end of the film, he ends it by blowing up his place of business that he owns and doing a home invasion and killing people that have wronged him. And that is a total change of trajectory of where that character started from, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a more complex story, complex character, and it has an ending too. I think that's especially when we're talking about comics, Western versus manga. I think you see more complex characters that are the author is willing to take away from that character, break the character a little bit in those stories that end.
So is it just a wider range of behavior and motivation that once you learn all of it still makes sense?
I would
Yeah.
say so, yeah. Like the character still feels it's not ambiguous. They're still an entity, but you can't immediately answer what will they do in any given situation.
You know what? Great Gold Worm. Dexter is a complex in that way. He evolves his code. Character evolution could. We're thinking of characters that just are. This is maybe a very Western thing. This is my action figure guy. He do this. He have this job. He like this food. It's like, here is my
Right.
toy. Maybe a complex character is shown via the evolution of the character.
You don't have to be that complex. Luke Skywalker evolves, and I wouldn't say he's a complex character.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. Some of the characters that are like the most epic, none of them are complex.
Well, yeah, I think like kind of like heroes, kind of superficial heroes journey characters aren't that complex. Like you said, Luke Skywalker isn't that complex. I would argue that Anakin Skywalker is much more complex than Luke.
Yeah, he actually evolves though.
Right.
That's what I'm
He actually
saying.
evolves.
Luke doesn't evolve.
Is like a semi-hero's journey because he has the call to arms or the call to adventure, right? And he takes it up and he becomes this badass, defeats the evil. But if you take in the last stupid trilogy where he becomes the old crazy guy, which is interesting because Jose was just on the show saying that the actual hero's journey that the Japanese use is when they become the hero, then they become an outcast because they're so wise. And that actually happens to Luke in the last trilogy. He becomes, he's sucking that blue titty milk. And he's like this weird.
He's so complex.
He's this weird hermit. I would say Anakin is the complex one.
Okay. The sarcastic, so complex comment is a good lead because it's like, okay, that is complexity, but obviously you're thinking it's ham-fisted bullshit that no one cares about, right? It's phony.
Because it wasn't explained, or it was badly explained.
Yeah.
We didn't see, it wasn't believable how he got there. While Anakin, it was believable how at certain points in his character arc and in his story, he would have made complete opposite decisions in any given situation. Like you plop him into a situation at any point in his character arc, he would act completely differently, but he's still believable because all of his evolutions from complete night and day personalities are explained. I think maybe that's the key with well done complex characters. It's they can completely flip in their reactions, but it's still well explained.
What I think is potentially peak complex character is when that character in the later stages of their life have nostalgia for their past naive self.
Oh yeah.
Like I know people might think this is like a gay moment. I thought it was really cool in that comic panel where Darth Vader actually gets his hands on C-3PO and he's like looking at his head, and it's like, yeah, he built him a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I like that.
Like in that moment, in that panel, it's like Darth Vader, this person who's supposed to be like a badass villain, is essentially having nostalgia for the unscarred version of himself, the potential that once was. Like he's comprehending his own complexity. And it's a very simple moment. What? Guy in black helmet looks at robot head. Oh, so simple. But like there's so much complexity that's baked into that because of the evolution of the character.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's see what's next. Concept, scenario, problem.
Another shape.
One thing, dramatic irony. We've sort of been talking about some of this stuff. I think the pitch is like, yeah, the one sentence approaching it as a concept. We didn't talk about scenario, but that's like how they used to credit writers. It wasn't called a script in Hollywood. They called it the scenarist or the scenario writer, scenario by blah blah blah.
Really?
They didn't even have the word story. They would only write scenario. But scenario feels simpler and it feels kind of nice.
Is the scenario the initial state of the plot?
Yeah, or maybe the whole thing, but I have that. I have something up there. We talked about this, so we can skip this one, but that's good. We didn't talk about that. Task at hand. Yeah. I like this. This is like a little writer's hack I've had for a while. I'll just tell you guys about it, and see what you guys think. But I noticed it from Star Trek, but they'll start any episode with a task at hand, and then the task at hand, like things will just naturally evolve to actual stakes that within the plot. But there's kind of a little bit of like a conflict, it can be slice of life. Like in Star Trek, it'll be like whatever. We're delivering much needed medical supplies to Alpha Beta Centauri 6. But we're holding up because the colony needs to like clear space for landing first or something like that. So then that's the beginning, and then they're just doing the shit they need to do to get the medical supply. Then something happens and starts your story, and then like they cut to the first commercial or whatever. And then you're peaked or whatever. But I like starting story, like I like just thinking of them and starting stories with them at any point. It's like if you just start, it's a good quick way to keep things moving.
It's the same principle of like enter a scene late and leave early. The task at hand is essentially entering the story late.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of television writing is like that, just to hook the audience into. I mean, and that's what I've heard when I started writing comics early on. A lot of people are like, just start your comic with action to get your audience hooked in.
Yeah.
I don't know a time I've done a story that's not had that. Every story seems to start with that. Like if you have an episodic character too, and you start with like the villains in their base, and they're like, "Here is what you will go out and do," and then it's like cut to the hero doing typical thing they always do. Like, oh, that's so zany.
Yeah, you know, it's or what you're gonna say, Rini?
I was just gonna say a good way to kind of trim down your story but not actually take away information is to just cut away anything that the reader can, like any intelligent reader of any any ability would be able to deduce by implication. So jumping into the action and having what happened before the action kind of spell itself out or reveal itself through implication and so on and so forth. And it's like, okay, so if your characters have gone through a whole quest and they meet a new person and they're sitting down to tell this new person an update on their journey so far, you don't have to show the reader that whole thing. You can just jump forward in time and stuff like that.
I think the audience gets really enjoys the automatic deduction feeling. It's like you don't even know what's happening. I think they look. So to do your example, it's like two people look at a problem. It's a map of a bank they're going to infiltrate, and then they're going over it, and it's basically becoming really difficult. And they look at each other, and they're like, "We're going to need more guys." And then you cut to a bunch of guys sitting in a row in seats, and they're like walking down with a clipboard. Like instantly, the audience has to deduce, oh, where did they find these characters? Like, how did they amass this group? What is the process they've decided on for vetting them? You know what I mean? Like instantly, the audience has to deduce a ton of stuff just because of that jump cut. And I think you should endeavor to create that. It's not just like, oh, we need to cut stuff down. I need to fit because I can't fit as much in. Like endeavor to create deduction.
Well, I like to do it because I don't want to draw as many pages, but it also makes the story more enjoyable because I think as a reader, it feels like your intelligence is being respected if you're reading that as a reader. It's like you could figure it out. I don't need to show you everything.
Could you say reduction for deduction regarding like your script or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, this applies like to simplicity applies so much to redrafting, and that's redrafting and then the additive reductive, because that's one thing we'll touch on too before we're kind of wrapping up, but I just want to touch on a few of these things. But redrafting, and this happened to me last week where I was redrafting a scene and it was bugging me. It was like kind of giving me a headache. I was reading it over and over again, and then it kind of did hit me. I'm like, there was a line right in the middle, and I was like, that's the beginning. So I deleted everything before that, you know?
Yeah.
And that helped a lot when I did that. Because I was like, fuck all this stuff. Why did I even write that?
Bancroft says, depends on the story. I'm glad it didn't start Lord of the Rings with the hobbits running through Farmer Maggot's crop.
Well, so in the case of the task at hand, like I bet they might even still do this, but you start Slice of Life. Like I think, you know, yeah, it's like they're getting ready for a festival. There's things they're doing, and there can be conflict within that, and then it escalates from there. So that's what's nice about Task of Hand is you can start the stakes so low and then escalate them.
If people act friendly towards each other or like have a character interaction, you are instantly deducing that they have like a long history together. They seem like friends.
Yeah, are you talking about Frodo and Gandalf? People have talked about that. I've seen online.
Yeah,
it is really good, that scene.
Yeah, there's still a lot of implied history. It does start slow, but that was the whole point of how he wrote the story. It was this building epicness.
Yeah, I mean, Wagaz points out that you don't even have, the only time you don't do that is when you do those slow burn opens, you know, and there's so many iconic movies that have those, like Once Upon a Time in the West. The start of the film is 20 minutes of like no dialogue of two bounty hunters coming to a train and ripping the telegram wires out of the train and waiting for a train to pull up for your hero to arrive. And it opens up with a shootout, but it's like literally like 20-minute opening of no talking, just audio cues, and it's awesome.
For some reason, it's really not boring. There's some magic there for sure.
Yeah, and very cool character moments and just masterful stuff. But yeah, that's very unique. So everything here is like not written in stone, you know.
Real quick, with we're talking about rewriting and how it's reductive. What are we saying? Reductive to make what? Jake,
inductive,
reduce to
deductive. Reductive to make deductive. But yeah, that's taking stuff away. That always happens. But as you're building up an idea, that can be the additive state. Like you might start with just a nugget, you know, and obviously at this point you still got to add stuff.
You know, Oh, sorry. I wanted to
You go,
jump
then
in.
I'll go because I actually don't know. I want to hear what
Oh
you
no,
guys
no,
think.
because additive. No, it's perfect. Okay, thinking about the bare bones approach to making a plot. Maybe there are parts where you're like, yeah, the character escapes with this gem, and then when you come in to write the scene, it's like, well, the typical thing is like, oh, they go through the base and they take the gem, and then there's characters that want them to not have the gem, and he evades them, and it's like boring, 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 fucking boring. You would then the additive, you're like, how do I actually add to this conceptually that makes it interesting?
Oh yeah, I like that. You know, real quick too, the additive reductive, it comes from, I learned it from sculpture. So like wood carving is a reductive like medium or whatever. Clay is additive and reductive. Stone is reductive. Some
Mhm.
might just be additive. I'm not sure. Like once that you add it, they bond and you can't take it away. That's maybe almost
That's
like metal. But
cool way
metal
to
you can
look
kind
at
of
it.
take it away. But that's a little bit. But writing is definitely both. But you can take this approach of like focusing on one more than the other. Obviously, in the beginning, you're focusing on additive for
Interesting.
sure.
That's a cool
Mhm.
way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
with the additive stuff, with the story, it's not like, it's how do you add interest, not how do you add complexity. Um,
Mhm.
like, oh, the character actually wants the gem to be stolen. That's
Yeah. Yeah, and you
uh
could be like, "Oh, can I add another character even?" You know, and but that could be too much, you know, it's trying to
Yeah,
find that balance.
but
I
it's
think that's
like,
a good way to put it. Any complexity should be for a reason, and the reason is it makes things more interesting, not for the sake of complexity or showing off.
and if you also, if you have the bare bones of your story and you've then kind of like looked into that to identify your themes, you would then add to it to give it the flavor of the theme. Like if the theme of the story ends up being relationships, like romantic relationships, and the beginning is like stealing a gem, like there should probably be some relationship angle to the stealing of the gem where like maybe people were distracted
Like
because
two
they were,
rats in the museum are banging.
yeah, they're too busy banging, so they didn't watch the gem, and then that still plays into the theme.
And then the guy goes, "They do it like we do." Do you guys know what that's from? Rini, have you seen that movie yet?
No, clearly not.
What's that from?
Bad Boys 2? Anyone? Anyone?
I don't know if I've watched
No.
that.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Nope.
One.
But so additive, it goes in a way, it goes well with this. What we're talking about is simple. A little bit of this presentation is like, this is almost like a subgenre of story. Like, not all stories are this specific type where you can, you're deliberately kind of trying to be simple. You can pitch it in one sentence. But if you're doing that kind of story, because you can do the fractal thing and you can build a big complex story, but still everything we've been talking about still applies. But you might be trying to make an actual simple story. Like a lot of movies are kind of like that, like Duel. Do you guys remember Duel, where it's like a guy gets chased by a semi truck? Like that's the story.
What?
So
No.
at that point, like it's 2 hours of a guy getting chased by a semi truck, but it's actually a really good movie and it has a really cool story. So it's a simple story, but it's very cool. And
Yeah.
that you're kind of, when you start, if you're starting from that point, the additive thing can be kind of more fun because yeah, you kind of know, you have that focus already. You know the problems that need to be solved and you're approaching it. Whereas I feel like the alternative is like the lack of focus, diarrhea. You're like, I'm just gonna, get drunk and write and see what happens. And then yeah, you can edit it later and make it good. But when you're working this kind of simplistic method, you can design some of that from the ground up kind of.
Goldworm in the chat said, so villains are usually more complex than heroes. I'd say go watch a stream show we did maybe like last month. It was all about like simple and complex villains, and they're not always more complex. The more kind of like what were we categorize them as? It's like forces of nature villains are much more simple than what you guys would call like a sympathetic villain that has like an arc. So like, your Anakin is a very more complex villain, Darth Vader, which anyone thought, right, in the first trilogy when Darth Vader was just Vader, more like a darkness from Legend. He's a super simple villain.
Would you guys agree that on average though villains are generally more complex than the heroes?
I think so. I think it's because unless a villain is just literally a force of nature or a god or something, people instinctively need an explanation for why they're terrible.
Yeah, because you don't need an explanation of like, well, why are you being so good though? Like, why
Right.
why are you doing the right thing? It doesn't make any sense. What? But
Some people don't understand that. Morality.
Well, those
Yeah.
are the psychos, and they're the villains.
everyone's the hero of their own story, Irene.
Oh, so that's kind of the end, but then I have 2 prompts. Maybe we'll just do one and we don't have to take too long on it.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, but we're gonna do our own of this.
Oh,
I think.
well, it says assassin versus assassin. I already got it.
I'm telling you, well that's already been done. We got to make an original one. So we're trying to do minimalist,
We're trying to
simple
come.
story.
Oh, okay.
Chat can help too. So if it's assassin versus assassin, or it was making me laugh because animal capture, that's like Pokemon, that has become a subgenre. But even before Pokemon, there are examples.
The Ghost and the Darkness. I got it. I win.
No, we're not guessing examples. We're trying to come up with something new.
Okay.
So if it's assassin versus assassin, it's like
I got one.
the character, the world, the plot. We're trying to keep it simple. What would you add to make it a pitch that you could pitch someone?
Okay, there's 2 spy organizations, and that they are like gonna send spy after each other, but it's like double honeypot. They're both trying to honeypot each other, and they just end up having a relationship that lasts for a very long time because there's no information.
They become really happy.
That sounds boring.
Yeah. So could we add a twist to that somehow?
The Gray Man.
Yeah. No, you can do an example. All right, I got one. I cheated on this one because I wrote the prompt, so I already got but I think it would be funny if halfway through, it's like 2 assassins fighting in a city, whatever. Halfway through, they call a truce for each other, and they have to you could zoom in, like they might need a messenger or whatever. And the truce has to be agreed to. But the reason the truce is agreed to is because their 20th high school reunion's coming up, and the girl they both used to love is going to be there. So
isn't that just Batman versus Superman?
I don't know.
What?
Oh, I think you know what that one might be. That fucking one might be done too. Is that the John Cusack movie? You guys
It's
know what
like
I'm talking about?
your mom's also the same name as my mom. Then we are truce now. Let's go to our high school prom together.
Pairs is better.
Yeah.
That was trash. Oh, I like that pair. I actually have an assassin character in the Lost Pages that has an assassin versus assassin story arc. But I don't wanna pick
I was thinking I want to turn the whole assassin idea on its head. Like it's not a normal government hired CIA assassin or whatever. It's someone who's reluctantly put in that role for whatever reason. But the other person is also reluctantly in that role. And they're
so
forced
good.
to be pitted against each other. I feel like that's interesting.
Yeah, that does
Very
sound
reluctant
good.
Two
assassins.
assassins are trying to kill the same guy. But it's very, very hard because he has like a lot of security and stuff. Turns out the guy hired both of the assassins,
Of course.
and the security agency has him in some indentured servitude role. They just want to be released from. And
There
then,
was that's interesting. That reminds me of the Dave Bautista film that came out not too long ago, which I meant to see. I didn't. It's about a guy who's like a hitman that gets a doctor's note that he's gonna die in like the next 5 months. He's like terminal cancer or whatever. So he puts a hit on himself, and then a week later, the doctor calls him and says, that was the wrong information. We switched the files. You're not gonna die. So I just get a bunch of assassins after him.
Oh
He's
yeah.
like, no, we need to reassign the assassins to the person whose file that was for instead.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have
I
you
looked at
guys
it.
heard of or seen a movie called Branded to Kill in the chat too? It's a Japanese movie by a guy named Seijun Suzuki. It's kind of famous.
No, I haven't heard. I think I've heard of the name. I have never seen it.
It's awesome, but I watched it a kind of long time ago. I don't remember it very well. I actually want to rewatch it. But I know it's about it almost. I don't know if it started this, but it does the trope where the assassins are ranked, so their names are actually like number one, number two, number three, or whatever. And you want to be number one, you know, for speak talking about simplicity, like no fucking reason. You just want to, you know, it's like a competition. And so I think the main character is like number three, and he ends up becoming number two. So he tries to go against number one. And number one, he doesn't realize this, but number one is number one for a reason. And number one ends up driving him insane, and he and is almost like a god, basically. And it's really awesome.
Sounds cool.
Hey,
Wyatt
Looper
Eastman
is
has an
assassin
awesome
versus
pitch.
assassin.
Wyatt Eastman's pitch: 2 assassins hired to kill Clark Kent for publishing an expose on some bad villains. That would be
That is
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they competing or are they on the same team? Either
Yeah,
way.
you get like Deadshot and Deathstroke hired to kill this random reporter Clark Kent for like $300,000.
Yeah, that would be good. You
Hmm.
know, it's like the story would evolve to kind of pretty quickly be Clark Kent's problem of like he almost has to make it look like they can kill him.
Right, he's just like so fast. Like he knows he's gonna get shot, but he ducks down to tie his shoe right before the bullet hits him.
Yeah, or like he has to fake his own death just to not just to
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
keep his identity secret.
You
or
have to
whatever.
kind of Phil. You got to use that with phony Superman.
Well, it's Wyatt Eastman's idea.
Oh,
In the
I
chat.
thought you just came up with it.
Yeah, he put it in the chat. It'd be a fun story. I'll write it
Yeah.
down
I just-
anyways. I'll wait till Wyatt dies and then I'll write the story.
I just
Christian
finally
Zappa's-
watched. Oh, go ahead.
Or go
Oh,
ahead.
that's great.
Or you go, then I'll go.
I was just gonna say I finally watched Catch Me If You Can, and recently as well, and that would be a fun assassination target. Imagine 2 assassins are competing against this what they think is a regular guy. Instead of like Clark Kent, it's just a really slimy con man who keeps getting away and lying his way. He has no combat skills, but just lies his way out of every assassination attempt.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The better con man. Yeah.
That he only gets caught because he's a crybaby.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of Tom Hanks' character learned to lie just as well as he did in the end, and was like, if you go out there, you'll die. And
No, he didn't lie.
Bemis Assassins versus a Massacre of Disguise. That's great. It's been done ish in Pink Panther, which is a comedy, but it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
King Hamill says that's every James Bond movie ever. I haven't seen any James Bond movies, so pardon me. This is why I can't do these story
only
jams.
what?
Yeah.
Only what the
But so real quick, Jake, with this and with the other prompt, the one thing I was kind of thinking of is like you can picture a million ideas, you see them in your head, but it's like the first thing you see in your head or whatever, it's very like kind of been done, it's kind of boring or whatever. So it's fun to think of like what is the one little thing that will make it fun and make me like it, and it's like it could be like a twist, or if it's like comics, a lot of times it's the moment at the end of the comic issue, the evolution where the stakes go up or whatever, or the tables turn or anything like that. You can kind of think of those moments as additive moments right away, and you can get kind of a quick pitch of something that's like kind of original and fun. Are there any with animal capture? Let's do this for a few minutes and then we'll be done and enter part 2. But
animal capture.
Yeah, like I don't know. I can think of tropes like invasive species, animals.
Oh yeah, a way to deal with an invasive species is to gamify its control. Like Pokemon are a fucking nuisance, and the only way to get everyone involved in dealing with them is to make them capture them and fight to the death.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is
It's like
that what the story was in that Pokemon?
Pokemon is like dog fighting. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
that it's like
That's
a
tough.
kid's thing.
What if instead the animal capture you?
That's like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Invasive insects.
Animal capture. You're
know.
trying to capture the super dangerous bear or something that's plaguing the land, and it's the only solution is to use yourself as bait. I don't know.
Yeah, like it seems like the premise for an episodic thing. Like that's any bounty huntery type character, right? Find
Yeah.
target, or like Witcher who has to like kill monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose there's capture involved, which means you don't just have to kill it. You have to figure out the nuances of this beast in order to take it non-lethal.
A magical beast would make this fun because the animal is the antagonist, and that would be should be portrayed as a force of nature, right?
Yeah.
That's what it would
Yeah.
be.
Even Irene, your one, it made me think of like King Kong is almost like in this realm where
Yeah,
for sure.
the
King
force of
Kong.
nature further.
and you got to offer like a virgin to get him out of his hut.
Yeah, imagine like trying to capture Godzilla or something.
It's the woman actually hiring the team because she wants the role play of being the King Kong's bride. She's actually the pursuer of that.
Yeah. Can we
That
try that trick if you take a simple character and put him in that standard plot and all of a sudden it's hilarious or awesome? Like, I don't know.
A guy who really hates monkeys and apes, but he's been
Yeah,
hired
put
for
Phil.
money.
Phil is just the guy.
Oh, you know what's good? So that reminded me of Ace Ventura Pet Detective 2, which have you seen yet, Irene?
No.
Oh my god.
Have you seen any of Ace Ventura? She won't remember. So
What's Ace Ventura?
He's a pet detective. It's Jim Carrey as a pet detective. In the first one, he investigates the disappearance of the dolphin from the Miami Dolphins, the mascot.
And you've never even heard of Ace Ventura?
I've heard of the name, but I don't know what it is.
It's
you gotta watch it.
Another reason Jim Carrey was one of the highest paid actors in the 90s. Ace Ventura 2, which I think is better. It's more cartoony. It's more kid friendly than Ace Ventura 1 because there's no Einhorn.
Yeah, the part where he comes out of the rhino's asshole is very kid friendly.
Yeah, that's great.
What?
Love that. Anyways, he hates bats, right? In it, there's this whole subplot where Ace can't stand bats. They're disgusting. But there's a tribe that like worships a bat, this albino bat, and then he has to grab it and run through the tribe, and he's freaking out while he's running, and they're all like bowing to him because he's got the albino bat. That would be animal capture. A reluctant animal capture.
Noah's Ark. He has to get 2 of every animal on the ark. That's animal capture. The last one that he can't find is like the Pikachu, and he's found a male, but he can't find the female. And he finds the female, and he finds out that they're actually in a different form and that they are human-esque, and he falls in love with it. Anyone? What about this? Wyatt Eastman. A tired question is, where do ideas come from? What is it about an idea that inspires you to create and make it? We're finding a bunch of ideas that don't inspire us right now.
Yeah, this one's not that great.
The creative process is struggle and pain.
We're digging. We're just digging.
He says
ideas
digging their own graves.
That new connections between previously known elements.
Yeah.
That's what an idea is essentially. Everything is just like a connection between stuff you already know.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like nothing is original under the sun, but there's new ways of making links and puzzling all the pieces together, infinite ways, and that's what storytelling is, or that's what inventing new styles and everything. That's what it is.
Banco says, ideas obviously come from the ether. This is known.
The ether, yes.
Yeah, they're just floating around. Well, I mean, like you know something you love that gives you that inspirational feeling. For me, it's like, oh, I want to hopefully create the feeling I felt when I read X, you know? And that's what I want to hopefully inspire in others through ideas that I have and connections that I made in, you know, story and the worlds that we create, stuff like that. But I mean, it's hard to explain because it's that feeling, and then so many different things can bring that out of you. Just that kind of like arcane connection to story and theme.
The feeling. Yeah, that's the warm, the payoff.
That's more of a wet, you know, a
Yes,
moist.
feelings are very wet.
It's like a moist feeling. You know?
Matt Costin says personal elements.
Right, that's the thing too, right? So like
That's linked to his
theme.
previous comment, by the way. He has two.
Oh yeah, what's lacking?
I'm
in
taking that out of
stories?
context.
Context needed.
What's lacking in stories today are personal elements. Yeah, I mean that's what's so important. It's why I love talking about theme, because theme is the thing that your audience, that we as readers connect to. And those are the broadly personal things, the universal truths. If you could connect those to your story, that connects to your audience and gives you those universal truth elements. That's the dragon you're chasing, or that's what I'm tracing, you know.
Tracing? You're tracing a dragon.
Don't tell those inkers.
Yeah, you're making me think about the feelings that are most fun to create. And like I used to say that, like, oh, the most valuable feeling is sadness and sorrow, but that's gay. You know that one feeling when like you've been introduced to a bunch of elements and like the story starts kicking up and like all of the elements are now gonna finally collide in like a huge ball of a whirlwind of mayhem. That's the feeling I fucking love in a story. That pure entertainment factor where you're like, I have been shown so much shit, and now it's all gonna be thrown at each other, and I'm so excited to see what'll happen.
I like the stoic despair and perseverance, where like, you know, you got some smooth synthwave playing in the background, some fuchsia light on your face, and you're like, man, I just dealt with a bunch of shit and I want to give up, but it's not in me.
The what's his face moment, the guy who played K.
Why fuchsia light?
You are
cool.
Kenneth.
You probably have some band-aids on your face, a little blood splatter.
Very manly, very cool.
Yeah, it's literally everybody.
I like Admiral Wackass's solution. Animal capture would be a fun premise if the animals were the humans and it was from the perspective of the aliens.
Very Twilight Zone-esque.
Yeah, even when he says having a hunt/war, like, you know, in what do they call it in like kingdoms? They'll have like a hunt on Sunday where like all
Fox
the knights
hunt.
in the kingdom line up,
Yeah.
and then they all enter the forest all at once. That's like a cool task at hand to start a story if you're gonna do whatever you want to do with it. Like
They did that
the type of animal they're going after, you know, whatever.
Did that in Shrek.
What were you saying, Phil?
I said they did that in Shrek. Shrek 2, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
Fiona's father was gonna try to bond with Shrek, and then we're gonna go on a fox hunt or something.
Well, and Berserk did this, and then I read a book pre-Berserk. It was published, so Berserk might have stole this idea, but it's the royal hunt, and then an assassin uses the hunt as cover to get an attempt on the person he's trying to kill. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I thought that was a
good stuff.
historical thing.
maybe it's happened in history, but the book is Flashman. I think it might be called Royal.
Oh, never read that. Cool.
And then,
You know, I'm thinking what would make animal capture interesting. I'm thinking about breaking down the elements of animal capture, and like a big one is like, well, what are you going to use it for after you've captured it? And then I'm like, oh, you just hunting rare beasts just to turn them into elegant meals.
Oh yeah.
oh, is that because that's actually good? Pretty good. Is that that's your answer?
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, that's good. That's fun. Yeah,
I
because
do.
that leads
Delicious in dungeon.
that leads to
Well,
more
yeah,
Yeah,
fun stuff. Because you could have like the high class people and the poor class people. The high class people only eat this one type of animal, or it was worth a lot of money to them.
The high class people only hunting the low class people to make the perfect meal. It has to be the right type
Humor.
of personal struggle they've been through in the slums
Yeah.
cannibalism.
to create the right taste. And it's like
Wonderful.
the hunt creates the taste.
Yes.
Maybe.
Peak
That's
story.
actually a step away from simplicity in a way.
It is.
It's kind of
It's a
fun
little-
if it's like, no, they just want to eat a good meal. Like, we're not going to over explain this.
And they just eat one tiny pot of it and throw the rest away.
Yeah.
They
You know,
literally-
a plot I wanted to do for a while is I kind of do this in Earthbound event like if coming up, but it's like an economy plot and it tickles me. I like it and everything, but it's like the idea where if the rich people like there's a certain kind of lobster they love, but then there's a country kind of far away where that lobster is super common and they actually all hate it. They think it's a pest. So if you could actually find a way to get the lobster from point A to point B, you could make a lot of money flipping it, And like that's like a fun plot kind of. It's like an economy plot. And then there's actually a lot of twists you can do with how that works. And stakes and everything, but yeah.
If it's like they're getting rare blue lobsters, but in a different planet they're all blue, and at some point during the plot they try and just repaint the lobsters from blue to red.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything like that. There's
I'm like, they're gonna put them in a tank, all the paint's gonna wash off.
yeah. Actually, I mean, if it's a comedy, that all would work really good. But yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's harder to think of non-comedy to keep the stakes high, but there's things you could do. But yeah, like like I like the idea too of like a really hoity-toity princess, and you're gonna get access to her by prepping this meal, like so that's like your way in. What if you're like, not if you're like an assassin or whatever, but if you're just even like a prince who wants to talk to her. Or something.
So it's animal capture, but the method of capturing is more like a heist.
Yeah, it's just step one in your plan. Like if you want to meet, you got to get in the same room as the princess to talk to her. But the only way to do it is to capture a super rare animal and go undercover as a chef to prepare the meal for the royal court or whatever.
Or you need to, it's like a Rapunzel situation, but instead of hair, you need to capture some animal that I could fly up or swim down or
yeah, an animal with super long hair that you can turn into a rope.
Sure, yeah. She's the animal.
I'm currently writing the script for Lobster Heist. Not even joking. We're on to a little something here. Some of these ideas aren't bad. There's a little something.
Yes.
Right.
I've been sitting on this assassin thing in my head, and I came up with something that's probably stupid, but what if assassin versus assassin, but we throw in time travel and huh? Well, I haven't seen. I'm just gonna start coming up with plots of movies that have already existed, guys.
Come on, does he?
Well, what? Wait, I missed what you were saying. So it's assassin versus
What's
assassin.
the plot
but
of
it's time
Looper,
travel?
Jake?
Looper.
Are you about to say the assassin travels through time and hunts himself?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, that does happen in Looper.
This
But
is why I need to watch more movies.
You came up with
This
a
is
very
so
clever plot. It made a good
frustrating.
film.
I have never seen Looper. I don't even know what it is. God damn it. I
I've never
thought
seen
it
it
was a
either.
fun idea.
That is what Looper is, and congratulations, you just wrote a good film in your head.
I'm glad.
7 deadly assassins with expertise in the culinary arts have to capture like the rarest ingredient for a meal, whatever. I like that.
Look, Rini just invented Looper.
I know that's a hit genius idea, Rini, you just thought of.
Yeah.
Too bad
to
someone
watch
already thought of it.
Movies.
Culturally, that's a culturally significant idea you just came up with.
Yeah, do it again. Rini, do it again. Do one that hasn't been turned into a movie though.
Now do the
I
same
don't,
with
how
animal
am I gonna
capture.
do that if I don't even? I was actually thinking of The Prestige and how he would like, it wasn't really a time loop, but he would, murder his copy, and I was like, well, we can do that with time travel.
How about two assassins? One's a man, one's a woman. But they're married to each other and they don't know either are assassins, and then they're hired to kill each other.
Well, I've definitely never
That's
seen
Mr.
that
and Mrs.
before.
Never been done before, Phil.
Yeah, that's
do it.
that's not bad though. That got made and remade. That reminds me, I think the original's old. And do you guys, this is kind of a funny quote. The slice of life versus slice of cake. That's a Hitchcock quote. He goes,
Oh.
I don't do slice of life. I do slice of cake.
Wow.
What does that even mean?
I'd much rather have
It means
of
whatever
cake.
you want it to mean.
an
I
any
want-
slice of
That
life.
doesn't mean anything.
I think it means F slice of life, which is okay. I like slice of life. I don't know.
All right.
Now I'm just depressed. Can we move
That's
on?
okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
maybe
I
it's
was
time
like
for. Does
10
anyone
years.
else have any more want to pitch things that have already been done, or we'll move on? Anyone? Animal capture.
Things that are
You capture things to take on their powers.
Yeah, I think this one, whatever the Jake kind of getting it going with the culinary angle, is really fun. I think, even though that is in its own way has been done, like for the dungeon cooking in a dungeon.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Just think of it. I don't know. Why you're capturing them, what you're going to use them for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any more assassin versus assassin?
Yeah, what if you're like a big game hunter and you
big game
capture
hunter.
and kill animals, and then you eat the animal's heart to get their abilities?
Yeah, that's like a new Pokemon thing. You got to get them all. You got to eat all the hearts.
Yeah.
Getting
Gotta eat
powers.
them all.
It's like,
You could
and
tell. You
get
could do that story. And you could do it awesome, and it could be epic
like
with tons. of
Kraven the
shit.
Hunter, but he gets their abilities and like he's addicted to it every time he gets a new one, and then the last one is man.
Yeah, you know
Or
that's almost a
woman,
little bit
and he
like
gets
One Piece though. In One Piece, they have to eat the juju fruit or whatever, and it's like
What
rare.
if a new creature turns up and people are like, "Oh man, this thing's delicious," but there's like one guy that's like, "Oh, I don't want to eat that. It's disgusting." And then the more people eat the thing, they become like it. And then this one guy ends up being the only person who hasn't had his DNA modified from
Yeah,
eating this.
That sounds
gross-
like a great fairy tale. Like if it was a shorter story, that'd be a great short story. That's
That-
simple. That's fun.
Then an allegory to COVID.
So with that, I wonder. There's two versions. The way you pitch it, it's like I can immediately see that as a short story or a fairy tale. But what if it was like a longer story? How would you even do that? Like that's kind of a challenge.
Do it like
you
Walking
would
Dead.
you would meet people who have tried. Oh, okay, because it's like zombies, right? You would say they're turning bestial or like werewolves, and then maybe the character at some point would decide it's okay to start killing them, and then at some point you need to learn that like, oh, some of them have figured out how to reverse the process, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I know, I killed all those fucking people. I didn't have to. That could, complexity.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like that. Yeah, do you remember in Berserk where Guts is killing all the bees, and then it turns out he's been killing the captured kids?
Mm.
Yeah, that was really great.
Yeah.
What?
Spoilers. Anyone?
The the Lost Children arc is pretty good. The thing is, it's like, well, their souls were doomed anyways, but it was still pretty terrible, wasn't it?
I'm gonna rip that off.
Yeah. Well,
Go
if
ahead.
we're learning anything, we're learning you definitely can rip this stuff off a little bit because everything's been fucking done. So
Just redo the same stories that have already been come up with.
New
Already
connections.
come up with. And yeah, dress it up differently. There you go. The end. God damn.
assassin versus assassin. What if it's like two baby assassins with bulletproof diapers,
Baby geniuses. They did
Yeah.
that already.
and they talk, but
Yeah.
they can only hear each other. They have giant brains through the city.
Yeah, it's called Look Who's Talking. It stars John Travolta.
Yeah. What about I don't know. The assassin versus assassin one's honestly kind of hard. There's not much there unless you. What about what Jake did? 'Cause you have to add something to it. You know what I mean? Like
I just
obviously
think
you have to.
A third assassin.
Yeah.
my first thought, okay, besides from they're fighting themselves, is just an interesting setting. I think that's one of those stories where the plot or the characters can be very simple. They're just
On the
assassins.
moon.
But yeah, or I want to see a cool period piece out of this. Like, what if they're cavemen and they're rival clans and shit? Or it's set in like ancient Mesopotamia. That would be entertaining for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Neat
What about
ninja.
this? So this is how I don't know if I can say this one because Jared pitched it to me, and I don't want to accidentally
And don't
lose
say it.
Jared's idea.
Yeah, don't say it if you don't have.
Okay. He had a sort of assassin versus assassin idea that I really liked, but I can't say it.
It's assassin, but I've got two ideas. Old man assassin, been out of the action. For his birthday, his like adult daughter hires several hits on him so that he can feel the rush. of-
That's like One Punch Man. That's psychological. The old man's a good character at that point, and the daughter. So
Mm.
that's not bad. It's just like kind of a comedy still. Which is
That's
fine.
him on
Mega
that
Russian
event,
roulette. Yeah.
Yeah, I do kind of like that though.
And then similar plot, a guy hires a bunch of assassins to try and take him out so he can like test his metal against them all and prove that he's the best. He's like, I'm the fucking best. And everyone's like, no, you're not. There's loads of other people about it. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking prove it by hiring every other assassin in the world to try and defeat me. And once they are all dead, I will be the best.
What about this? So this is loosely related to Jared's ideas, so everyone can know a little bit because I don't like leaving people hanging. But there's a manga and it's like a war, and then two mechs end up getting the war like ends in mutual destruction. Two mechs get buried in sand. Then 1,000 years later, both mechs get woken up and they have to decide whether or not to resume their war in totally new situation.
No, they get woken up by the civilization that developed on the planet that there was bumfuck nowhere desert planet when they both died on it, and then the society comes up and like uncovers them and switches them back on again, and then they're fighting back again because of their programming, but destroying the world that arose.
See, that's pretty good. That's a good one. I like that one a lot.
I'd read
but
it.
There's some anime OVA that has a similar plot to that. And it is pretty good though. It's good stuff.
So these slides.
I'm done.
Slides, yes.
Yeah, it's over. We can go to part 2.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. You guys don't got any more animal capture?
No!
Anyone? Assassin versus assassin?
I
Anyone?
like
What
the
about different species of assassins? One is a sentient plant.
I like
I don't
this.
know.
Where
I'm
you going
really
with this?
tired.
animal
So I'm just gonna
assassins.
do bullshit.
Plant assassins.
One is a
Animal
person who uses house cats to kill people. Catwoman.
Ooh, an assassin that's in a different dimension, like the whatever that fucking place is in Stranger Things, and that's their opponent. Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah,
so-
they,
Yeah.
they hire what is his name? John Henry Kruger.
Who's that?
Whatever his name is with the knife hands. The little
Freddy Krueger?
yeah. Kill people in their dreams, dream assassin.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. What about an assassin who can move buildings to crush people versus an assassin who can phase through walls?
Those aren't assassins.
Obviously,
Those are superheroes.
yeah.
Wait,
I
what?
think there's a certain level of destruction and indiscretion that
Wait, what about
They-
Wanted? Remember the Mark Millar movie that was based on a comic book called Wanted?
Yeah.
It's all about assassins, right?
Yeah, the original comic is not assassins. It's a League of Supervillains, and arguably better. But yeah, they changed
Better
it
than the
kind of
movie?
a lot.
Big
Admiral
girl.
Wackass. 2 assassins have to work together and kill 2 targets at the same time to escape the prison. If one kills theirs first, the other person dies, but they can't go free, like the cage riddle. I like
Wow.
that. If maybe the prison is like the city, that's been done too.
Ooh, I like some persons. What about assassins that bring people to life?
That's
Hmm.
so legit.
So they're like
So-
reverse assassins.
Yeah.
And
then they're
then-
not assassins.
No, they're reverse assassins. They have to find the bodies of the people that this is, secret society deems to bring back.
Yeah.
They
That's a
reverse form.
perfect. That idea is so fun and cool.
Subversion. That's cool.
That's the best idea I've ever heard.
Those
Yeah,
aren't
it-
assassins. Those are necromancers or clerics.
No, it's not. It's not magic. It's like space-time science or something.
Everybody's like, that's just
I
a
don't give a
cleric.
shit.
It
Those
needs
are
a good
necromancers
man.
or clerics,
It
They
needs a
have
good
to
man.
not
infiltrate.
rogues.
They have to infiltrate heaven in order to assassinate someone who's gone to heaven in order for them to be resurrected.
Oh yeah, you need to assassinate the god of death in that world.
I will
Anti-
erase all death by killing death.
Yeah, you need to
An-
become Guts himself.
Anti-assassins. I'll work on the title.
Amazing.
I'm gonna write that one down
Doctor
too. Who said
Phil.
that? Some person. I'm gonna wait till some person's dead, then I'll write it.
A lot of people saying it's like something that's already been done. That's good though. It's fun. What if it's
everything?
Ants?
Manga has done fucking everything. Yeah, Gantz is like people that are about to die and they get I don't want to spoil it, but they get transported into this like
Oh,
fucking what's that?
room?
an apartment room?
No, it's an apartment, but I'm talking about it's like the Hunger Games with the Japanese version. Battle Royale. It's like a battle royale but with high-tech shit and
Yeah,
tits.
Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds totally different from mine. Some person's idea.
Battle Royale, but in heaven.
Eh,
Yeah, what if there's one, it's God orders 2 assassins to kill someone, and that's all I got.
Oh, no, I got it. It's called Battle Royale, and it's a battle royale in hell.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Hmm.
That's not bad.
This is really dragging on.
No,
You
it's
don't
not
like
at
the
all.
silence as
Please
we think?
continue. Just sit on this slide for another 40 minutes.
I told you the show's over, but do you got any assassin versus assassin
it's
anyway?
not. In half, 'cause
Really?
it's all
I
different stuff.
have
Okay.
This is
Alex
the
BRB says the meme. So we will enter the second half. We'll go over the meme in like a half hour. We'll still hang out for like at least a half hour. We're gonna go over some art and everything. So let me play a
To
little
be
video.
fair, we did stream for 4 hours when Irene streamed last.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
What is happening?
why are you doing a countdown? What the fuck is going on?
We're starting the second half in 14, 13, 12.
This is a great second.
The
This is actually a good second half
Half.
video.
Yeah.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0.
Oh my god. Well, I'm sharing
Hell yeah.
art. Here's a
Thanks,
reward.
Alex. Me
We
was
need
up
to,
two
you need to
party.
build up the tension, guys.
Okay,
do
okay,
like...
okay. Never mind.
Oh no, well there you go. No tension.
There you
build
go.
up.
Thanks for helping me build up the tension
Ooh.
there. Thanks.
Oh,
That
those
was
are
really helpful.
mummies. Those are mummies.
So yeah.
Oh my god.
No, I
For
didn't
the
realize they were
people
mummies.
who stayed through our presentation and patiently joined us.
Hey,
in
we were
today's-
gaining viewers when we were brainstorming Assassin.
We were. Maybe we should go back to that. Get it off the screen. Go back.
Please
Oh,
don't.
no.
Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. I'm going to want to strangle myself. So here are the colors for the Japanese, the cover for the Japanese edition of Fiendish 2. There you go. Yes, not quite done. I'm gonna nitpick a little bit more, but hope you guys like it. It's
Neat.
Jake's colors, guys.
It's
Jake's
awesome.
I'm glad the
I-
colorist didn't put loads of like color over all the lines and make it really blurry. And
Yeah,
crap.
it's not. Oh, you can tell it's not me because it's not overworked as hell.
That's
You
not
don't
what I
see
meant.
the actual cloth texture painted in thread by thread, so it's not me. There's
I
not a
love the
bunch
color
of
her skin.
useless overworking in the colors.
Jake, I love the color of her skin.
Yeah.
This is
Jake.
This is a little bit of a challenge to light too, because the light source is like broad and big. Whatever.
I know, I was
I
gonna
like what
do
you're
the-
doing with it.
I was gonna play the bit where I talk as if I didn't color it and someone else did and be like, why did they even choose this lighting? Isn't she supposed to basically be lit from everywhere at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, who decided that? Who made this composition anyways? What a stupid composition.
Well, yeah, basically. You
Oh,
can
it's
do
the
whatever you-
meme. She's like saying everything's fine.
Yeah,
She's
that's
in the
clearly
fire.
what she's
Yeah, she's
saying.
in the fire.
Uh-huh.
No, I love the bodies. I didn't, for some reason, realize that's what they were in the black and white for some reason.
Yeah. It's a funeral scene that happens in the book. I mean, not spoilery, but it's not really because you.
One is
Cosmo
Darth
dies.
Vader, the other is Luke Skywalker.
It's Cosmo.
Sure.
They're
It's
both
fan
Cosmo.
fiction. They
That
got
is
shipped.
Luke Skywalker with tits, though. So, because those are tits.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad
Ooh.
the colorist didn't like feel the need to put color on that line on the top of her head, and it goes from fire to pure black to rim light. That helps her separate from the background and not get too
Yeah.
lost in it. Good job.
Very good job. Wow, what a great decision. It feels very non-jarring.
They kind of phoned it in with the shading on the mummies, though.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Dele,
Oh.
this one isn't even that bad. It's kind of funny. But there's a thing that's sort of like that, and it's the Philip K. Dick book. And I forget which one it is, but he did one where a policeman is
Time Cop.
surveilling a criminal, and then he realizes he's just been surveilling himself the entire time.
Oh god. No, have an assassin versus assassin story, but they never get to the mission because they're stuck in the bureaucracy or something.
Oh, I actually love that. That
Oh,
sounds
I had a
great.
good idea. Oh, finally. Oh my god.
Yeah, that I don't feel like that's exactly been done yet either. Yeah, and you could have.
It probably has.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like medieval, and it's the guy does the assassination, and so he has like just the head. It's like, bring me the head off, and the whole film is him going through the bureaucracy of trying to cash in the head.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
starts
funny.
with him completing the mission, but then the
Yeah.
film is about
He
all the
gets it.
fallout.
He gets it right at the beginning, and then by the end, is the person who commissioned him is like, why did you kill my brother?
Yeah, he has to keep it on ice, but the ice is melting, so like half of it is just him getting more ice.
Mhm.
That's not the plot to Titanic. I have seen the Titanic. The Titanic didn't have assassins.
that was the plot of the Fallout series, actually. That they have. Well, I don't think they were trying to cash in the head. Oh wait, they were delivering the head. I think.
Delivery
Okay.
movies, delivery stories are pretty good, especially they don't know what they're delivering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's a
It's-
good
What's in the
team
box?
setup too, like delivery boy team setup.
Yeah.
You
That's in a
have
lot
the
of
task
anime.
and
The what? What?
What?
the task at hand is the delivery.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
related to the
Yeah, yeah.
slug.
It starts so nice. It can.
They did that
escalate.
in Ultraviolet. You guys ever see that?
No,
It's
but
got
I'm familiar. Yeah.
super futuristic cyberpunk Mila Jovovich film where she's delivering a package and she can't open it up. And it turns out it's like this kid who is like there's like a boy inside this like flat spaced suitcase, and he's the one with the blood to cure all vampires or some shit like that. And then
I'm
they're
bumping
gonna
the
kill him.
meme here, I think, because we got multiple
Oh.
requests.
Yeah, that's
Mute it up.
kind of like in Blame, where I mean, Blame is pretty sparse on plot, but the target of the whole story, like the main character's quest, is just a kid with the right gene
Yeah,
to restart the basically restart the world.
right.
All right, hypothetical. You're the delivery person. The person hands you the bag. They say you can't look in this. Events unfold. You're pushed through some force to look in the bag. Within the bag is a basketball with your realistic face on it, and it talks in your voice, and it says, "Help me, help me." What do you do?
You bang the basketball, right?
Yeah, you force the basketball to give you oral sex.
I mean, isn't that everyone's first?
The mind of men.
Well, you're the only one with an answer, Phil, so I guess that is the answer.
The answer.
You put it back in the bag and pretend like it didn't happen and take your fucking crazy pills.
Okay.
That
okay.
yeah, that's not a bad answer either.
You've zipped it back up. Now it starts screaming.
Yeah,
You go see your shrink.
you hear it constantly.
You're
Okay.
losing it.
What is this? Oh,
You're
Okay,
seeing-
this is meme number 1 because there's 2 memes. So this is the first,
I like how this.
Right,
and
go
we
right.
can go over it.
Oh no, we've embraced the semi Ghibli AI
I was gonna
art.
say,
What
who
are
is
we
this
looking
Simp
at?
Zone? But it's obviously the yellow guy.
This is
from
disturbing.
Simp-
This is like
Simp-
Simpsons and Ghibli had a baby. This is very
Well, that's
disturbing.
that yellow bastard, right? That's Rourke from Sin City.
Oh yeah, wow, that's fun. There's all the characters.
There's Marv.
This is
Yeah,
like
that's Marv.
original character.
Who's the old
This
guy?
sick
though?
fucker.
This guy's my favorite. Right here. You better not be drawing some random nonsense again, Yellow. So he's the judge. Yellow is the court illustrator, and he's not doing his job in the past. So they got to
Is
keep
there-
him on a tight leash.
That's
These
right.
people are all on trial.
Mm.
What?
Is
what
that us?
I don't
What's
think so.
Bisley doing there?
Yeah, that is Bisley with his goatee
Lord
and glasses.
knows. I was
That's
like, there's
modern
one
Bisley.
woman, a haggard guy, a Terminator, and an old guy with long hair.
I think that
Does
center
the
one.
follow-up mean remove the Napoleon panel to reveal what he was drawing?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, it does look like Biz. Crazy.
Yeah.
Just focus on your own shit, yeah?
That's right.
All right. Alex said second meme is up.
That's
So-
awesome.
Who are
it is
those?
a little. It's a little bit what you said, Jake. Okay.
Yeah, I predicted it. See,
Let
he
me see.
created a semi-pro or whatever I said.
I can't wait to see this.
All right. Can you guys see this?
Oh my god.
Right.
Oh my gosh! That's
I
Yeah,
was
that's
really
awesome.
fat on that one. That's not Ghiblified at all.
Illegible, but awesome.
Oh,
like-
that's great.
Wow, the AI art's pretty sick though.
Yeah. The AI is taking over.
I
That's
love,
pretty
cool. It actually looks like a
Star
little
Wars
sketch.
man, George
Aw.
Lucas.
Oh
That's,
no.
that's so cool. You got to post just that image. I would love to have that image. It's so cool.
And look at Phil.
Phil looks like some Italian New Yorker. It's like they
Red
got
blood.
your hair right, but your face is just some random like pizza shop owner
really
from Manhattan.
Bulbed out my nose, huh?
Yeah, yeah, with the giant eyes that totally do not look like you.
They turned normal. They gave him the thickest neck in the
You
universe.
look like you're like a 50-year-old dad all of a sudden. What's going on?
Irene looks like 10,000.
I just look like a
more
fucking
Chinese
gremlin.
You're making
I'm
a
just
weird
like-
face, Irene. Yeah.
I'm
it's
just like
funny.
some Chinese gremlin. So thanks.
You look like you're
AI.
sucking out of a straw that isn't there.
Well, that's just my normal face, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Lemon.
Up here it says, "You just invented Looper."
Wow.
Jake, want to read yours? Can you read it from here? Can you see
I
that?
will. I
Yeah.
can. That drawing of Phil is exceptional.
Yeah, Jose says I look like Kramer. Kramer's me.
Oh yeah, the AI
No.
thought you're Kramer.
I just come from the pizza parlor where I'm mad at my wings tired.
Yeah, that Phil right there, he make it a pizza. That's what he does.
The filling a pizza. Okay. I know people might think this is a gay moment. Everyone is the hero of their own story. I am the only gorilla around here. Is that like another term for like a gay, like a bear? You can have gorillas, they hairy
Yeah.
bears. That can only be one. Drink and draws are just to get laid. That's interactivity, right?
That is
And then look at your face while you're saying that. You're like
Yeah.
drunk.
totally blitz.
That is
Ooh.
that is gas
What a
Weird.
bleak face.
Wait, it has to be drunk. It has to be super drunk. I never put my fingers. This is a good moment. I'm sorry. I'm the only gorilla around. There can only be one. Drink and draws is just to get laid. It's interactivity, right?
Perfect.
Amazing.
Phil, want to do yours?
Yeah. I don't really like monkey characters. Is he kicking the demon in the balls? Lots of LSD. We didn't write this. You wrote this. It's a very moist feeling, simping for gold.
This is a very schizophrenic episode.
It's a good episode.
Irene, want to do yours?
Sure. Why the fuck do people like this movie? There's no point to the simplicity. They just sniff their own farts. Those are the psychos. They're the villains. I'm not comfortable. Kick both of them. Very
angry.
bitchy. Thanks.
The rage.
Damn it, now I'm depressed.
You're
over
right.
here. And mine is anything that can kill or grape Phil, he doesn't like. That's my theory. It's kind of like creative block the book. Maybe I'm a little blacked out. Fuck all this stuff. Why'd I even write that?
That's fun.
Oh my god.
And then this is funny too. Anyone else want to pitch things that have already been done?
Damn it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Let's continue.
Thanks, Alex.
That was great.
So between the two of them, yeah, it's a lot of fun because it's a zoom in, it's a reveal.
Uh-huh.
Who are the other people on the stand though, or in the jury?
I thought it's like, could it be us? But it's not.
No,
it just
it's gotta-
ambiguously is for people
That's
with.
gotta be Bisley. That's
Yeah, that has to be Biz.
so then all of the other characters have to be Bisley
Well,
similarly adjacent.
The middle one has to. That's Marv. That's just Marv from Sin City, right? It looks like him.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
looks like Marv. I can't figure out the others though. They look too generic.
Who else were we talking about?
Mm.
Any blonde
Are they the
ladies?
Delicious in
and-
Dungeon characters? Because we brought that up or not?
We didn't bring
Yeah.
it up that much.
Because a blonde woman.
Brock from Pokemon. Oh, Brock's brown though, isn't he?
What?
Like a brown
Yeah, that's
skin?
not Brock. That's more John Wick than
Um,
Brock.
Yeah, the eyes aren't
Mm.
racist enough.
Ha ha ha. Is
I
that
don't know,
John
blonde
Wick?
chick. It's not Goldie, is it?
John Wick has a beard.
They should make the female version Joan Thick.
No, they're coming out with a female movie about the ballerina. Is a spinoff for John Wick.
They should
yeah.
rename it Joan Thick.
Okay. What were you trying to say, Alex? What did you try to do?
I think they're supposed to be people, but they didn't all come out as he was hoping.
Well, who is it
Okay.
supposed to be?
It got a couple characters. That's good enough.
Yeah.
A rare. Yeah, that's awesome. That's funny.
Okay. Well, very well
Good job.
done. Thank you, Alex.
Here, I got
Yeah.
something to show before we shut it down.
Hey,
Yeah.
me too.
Nice.
Oh,
I
so-
have I have 2 spreads from the Nippon special that I shall share for the people.
All right. We'll
So-
combine sharing art with like final promo. is what we'll
Cool.
do. That sounds good.
Psycho Slumbers at the printers should be coming next week. We got C2E2. You guys can still back it. And maybe, well, if we have the books at C2E2, if you guys backed and you're in the area, you can come pick them up. But this is the first page laid out by Oliver for the Western of chapter 2. And he sent this in, and it's like really cool blue line shit. And I just thought it was dope. So I had to show it. So I tweeted this out, put it on Instagram. He's already he just showed me he's already inking this bottom panel. It looks super cool. I'll show it tomorrow on my stream, the Diaz Brothers show. But this is gonna be fun. It's he's
See, Rini, this is what pencils actually look like. It doesn't look like a perfect version of
What
the
are you
inks that
talking
then
about?
just
This is a lot
retrace
of
over.
detail. What are you talking about?
yeah. You
Okay,
put
he
a
puts the
ton of
detail in penciling the shading instead of perfecting the outlines. That's what's going on.
Okay.
I just can't wait to get more of this stuff done. It's gonna be super cool. This is just basically our hero talking to his buddy, and then it's gonna go into a flashback, and we're gonna show some more origin stuff for one of the characters in chapter 2. So it's gonna be really fun. If you
Cool.
guys have not yet, sign up for our mailing list on ZadyComics.com. You guys will know when we're coming out with the first sneak peek of this bad boy. It's gonna be dope.
Dope. Yeah, great drawings. That's a great page.
Yeah.
Jose, you're insane and very productive.
Yeah, what did he say? He finished 2
He said he
spreads?
finished a spread during the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's rad. And
Nice.
also, that is a good function of our show. A good little victory for us. I'm glad that people can be
People
entertained
drawn while
they
they're
are.
listening. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I
your
just,
success is actually our victory, Jose.
Yeah.
I
That,
do
that's
back
like
to-
a model. Like we're in, say, imaginary in 5 years, we have 10,000 people watching, and they're
One can
all
only-
drawing. Yeah, I don't know.
I can only hope.
be a lot more comics out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I backed Jose's books this week. He just had that Blackjack Duelist went up as well, which on Kickstarter. So I grabbed
Yeah,
that
he's got
and
a
his
couple.
Club Van Fleur.
Nice. Club
Check
Van
those out,
Fleur,
please.
yeah. Any mods in the chat, feel free to post links for Club Van Fleur, post for Phil's books.
Linkage.
And then Jake, I'll throw up your share stuff here.
Yeah. People remember this. I think I showed this last week. This is like the internal shot of Connell's tree. But yeah, this is this is one on one of the spreads for it's going in the Nippon special, of which cover revealed. Down here it says, can you guess what this says, guys?
Oh, no idea what that means. Oh my gosh, I am baffled.
You can't say anything. No,
I don't know what that means.
but can you? Okay, it says the British have come to Japan.
Wow, you
Oh.
speak Japanese?
Does it?
Amazing.
Yeah, I thought I would put my own bit of Englishy, like cutesy, like, oh, there's just a banner and it just says the British have come to Japan. Oh, how sweet! This says Japan special, and this says Kanalu Barbario.
That's awesome.
Barbarian.
But yeah, with
I
this
love
will
that.
be some translated Japanese preview pages. It's all the pages that are gonna be like up for free to read anyway. But yeah, this is a special little book. It's currently 40 pages, and it contains not only preview pages, but it also contains some of the character design sheets. So this isn't just the indoor anymore. We've got the outside look of tree here, and then kind of people might have seen these on Twitter. These were just 3 very quick color concept sketches of the immediate environment around Connell's house. to just get a feel of the environment. And I couldn't help but try and make it like a video game level or a play set. It's like, oh, there's an entrance here, and then there's an exit, and then there's this exit down here that goes to a river. It's like just thinking all the ways, like there's this
Point and
this
click
area-
adventure. You got to make one for the launch. Just like a
Yeah,
little
it
10
feels
minute.
like the point and click adventure.
Oh
setting.
yeah, that's so cool.
I'm imagining if this was a game, in the morning you would and you come out of the house to start your day, it would be this screen, and then when you go away and then come back in the evening, it would switch to this one, so you would enter it this way. So they have like, and if it was a show, the establishing shots in like the beginnings of the stories would be like this angle, and the establishing shots of like returning home would always be this one, and it would feel like a wrap up and a beginning just based on revisiting these same shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I also have I did people who have sketchy starts, there were character sheets in that book, and there was character design for Connell and Slugsy. And but I have updated these to make them all fresh and new, ready for the actual Sketchy Starts 1 book. So here is like an updated Connell design sheet with some example heads of him with no hair. And here is an updated Slugsy, where his like face design has changed a little bit, so it's easier for guest artists to kind of like draw the face in a more appealing way than having to deal with the stupid lower jaw. And here is another character called Zelon.
Elon.
Yep, and who people will be introduced to in the first side story, which is why he's in this book. But yeah, Zelon's even on the back cover over here with Slugsy.
Spoilers.
Can
What?
we have a story arc where Cardinal loses all of his hair and he's bald?
He needs to
Cardinal?
go bald.
He becomes
would ha-
Saitama.
It would like have to remove his power or something.
Yeah,
that,
something
Phil, that
happened.
could work. I could turn that into something.
'Cause
Yes,
those are
Hey.
hilarious.
that could be very fun. But yeah, Connell, Slugsy, and Zelon are essentially kind of like the 3 core, always hopefully used characters. Connell basically goes to Slugsy to get scammed, and Zelon helps Connell. Slugsy usually takes from Connell, so they're kind of like information NPCs in a way. That just, yeah, if a certain story goes a certain way, he'll end up interacting with either of these for a semi-predictable kind of like plot point or story moment. But yeah,
It's awesome.
and look,
And
they
well-
have their Japanese names, so it's Kanaza Barbarian.
What?
And this is Zihatsu Ron. I don't know if these are going to be changed, by the way. I think the
It's
translator said that these
Barbaria.
are Barbaria, and this is
Barbarian.
Suraji, and Slugsy is Suraji.
Suraji.
Suraji, which when I
Uh-huh.
translated this on Google Translate, it means sludge,
Ooh, that's cool.
but
Oh, interesting.
it doesn't actually mean. I was like, I
So with katakana, with that writing system, the interesting. There's a kanji in there. In katakana is usually used to translate foreign words. So a lot of English loan words in Japanese are written in katakana, but because the sounds don't match exactly, you're gonna have some overlap. So it'll sound like an existing loan word, but it's not the same word.
Well, this is the one that the translator gave me. I actually tried to research these 2 myself and then sent them to him to say, like, do these work? And I don't know if he's confirmed if these are like good or not. But this maybe Grok was involved, and maybe you type like, this is the name in English, and it's a fusion of these different terms that mean this. Can you translate it? And then it's like, oh yes, we can use this character that means this and fuse them all together to make this. Go on.
I'm thinking, like, my Japanese is not great, but if you wanted to try and ask Grok or the translator to translate Slugsy, instead of just plugging in Slugsy, you can try plugging in Little Slug. Like, that could possibly work, because that would be how I'd translate
Fat
Slugsy to
slug.
Japanese.
Yeah, big sluggo.
And
Yeah.
barbarian, I'm sure there's a Japanese word for barbarian, so it could be Kanaru za, and the actual Japanese word for barbarian.
Yeah,
I
the
think that would
translator said it's. I did suggest some stuff. It was like flesh barbarian or like sexual barbarian. But I think he said that they come across as very basic and not fun.
Yeah, it doesn't work the same way.
Yeah, so he was like, just to call it, go with the you know what? He's oh wait, what is that one? What is that? He's Slugsy, he says no issues, and that's fine. Now I'm gonna try and look for Zihatsu Ron. I don't even know if I even suggested it to him. Yeah,
Who is him?
The translator.
Oh, I thought you meant Grok. I thought you were personifying
No,
Grok
personifying Grok.
People constantly do that.
But yeah, I got truffle is like in Japanese it's called truffle chan. But yeah, it's been very fun getting the Japanese version over, getting the Japanese version ready and having like thoughts about how these names translate. So this is the Nippon special, which is going to Osaka Comic-Con next in a month or so. And you know, people may be like, "Oh, what? You just doing another book? And how do I even get it?" I have decided to give one of these for free to every single Throbbing package back.
That's right.
Awesome. So and I won't be selling these outside of that, just in Japanese conventions, because that's the point of the book. It's like the first book. The point of it was to go to Heroes Con and sell it there, but like I also did a campaign. So the point of this is to sell it at Japan. So I will only be selling this at Japanese conventions or giving this to every Throbbing package backer for free. So if you would like to get your hands on one, either travel to Japan, get someone to mule you one out from Japan, or just become a Throbbing, one of the Throb Squad Elite. Upgrade your backing today. It will also have 6 preview pages of the first side quests book.
Ooh, that's crazy.
I'm not showing that off at all for a while, but it will have some. So the people who got the Throbbing package, when you get that book, you will get a glimpse at the first side book that will be launched just probably a few months after the following year. So yeah. Oh, they're also numbered 1 to 100. So Alex, you're getting number 1 and 100 because you are back at number 1 and 100. Yeah, so people will. Yeah, they're all going to be hand numbered too. So
Alex is just going to become the mega collector of every single series.
He deserves it. He does.
He absolutely does deserve it.
And I will, because there's tons of people in the chat who want to know. There will be a 69 book. Maybe it'll get auctioned.
69.
Stop saying Throbbing package.
It'll be a huge scandal because there actually would be 2 of them.
2 of the 69s.
Yeah. And one's real and one's fake.
And the Cardinal scandal would be that, though.
He just keeps selling 69 books, and there's like 5 of the same thing.
He sells them as limited edition, but there's actually 100 of them.
Yeah, he actually.
Who has the real 69?
Yeah. Rini, what want to promote anything or share any art?
Yeah, I will. Speaking of Nippon specials.
Nippon special.
Nippon special. So you have all seen the covers that I've been working on. But as I have mentioned before, but I will share yet again. I am sharing another screen. Yes, that is the cover for chapter 2.
How do you have so many screens? You're spoiled.
You can share a tab, and there's a new StreamYards function where you can share a single image. Anyways, magic. So here is Fiendish Chapter 1 in Le Japonais, and I actually have it up on Global Comics. I have Chapter 1 and 2 in Japanese on Global Comics. Chapter 2.5 is also done. I just haven't released it yet, but keep an eye out for that. And yeah, the whole oh wait, this is Chapter 2, not Chapter 1. But look, oh behold, look at this! I'm so proud of this.
Nice.
Amazing.
Recap page
Yes.
in
Another
Japan.
manga-y recap page, and the whole thing is up on there. So take a look at all that. I'm so proud of this. Yeah, finished lettering this a few weeks ago. So the whole thing, that's like chapter 1 is 50 pages, chapter 2 is like 70 pages. It's a lot of pages, it's a lot of story content, but it's all in Japanese. I can't wait to bring it to Japan. And here's chapter 1. There you go.
Did you hear about the new Global Comics cover system that they implemented, where you could have variant covers for your stuff and specific covers per chapter. So like you can even add it after the fact. So like now that you have your Japanese version, once you're done with that cover, you could add a new variant to
Oh,
it
you can
on
put the
Global
Japanese
Comics.
covers on them on
Yeah.
Global.
I got an email about it today, like walking people through it. I think they did a video. Or did
Okay,
they do
I'll
a
check
tweet?
it out because it's like the Japanese. So if you go on Global Comics, the Japanese section. Hold on, let me just go back to Fiendish in general. The Japanese section is a whole different section. So you see over here, there's like English and Japanese.
Oh, cool! Yeah,
Here's English. Here's
Yeah,
Japanese.
It would let you change those covers to the Japanese covers.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's a whole different, which it's a little annoying because while it's a total just different section, I actually have a Spanish section that's not public yet either because it's also in Spanish.
Right.
But I have to redo the frames, so you have to redo the frames right now. But I asked them about making
You
it.
don't anymore, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah. So,
been told. But I asked for
changing the cover. You won't have to do any pages again. It's separate. But you
Right,
need a different thing of like when you do a different language, you have to redo all the frames.
Yeah, that was a little annoying. So I'm trying to see if they can do that because I have so many language versions. If I have to redo the frames for every single book, I'm gonna go crazy. But yeah, so there's that. I love that they have different language sections. Oh, what I did find out, so you can set a release to be a side story on Global Comics. Maybe I just didn't see it before, but I remember when I first uploaded 2.5, the English edition, which was last year, I was frustrated that I had to upload it as chapter 3, even though it's not chapter 3, it's a side story. So I need to ask them to manually on the back and change it. But so the because I just uploaded 2.5 Japanese on the back end, and it's a Gaiden. Like there's a Gaiden category on Global Comics now.
Is it called Gaiden or because
yes, it's called Gaiden.
How does that work though? How is it presented?
So the numbering isn't the main chapter. So hold on, let me go to the English section of Fiendish. See 1, 2, and chapter 2.5 is labeled as 3. That's that number at the front. That's automatic. That's just because that's the third thing I uploaded, so it automatically labeled it as 3. But if I get it changed to a Gaiden or a side story, it will be first side story instead of chapter 3.
That's cool. Yeah, I would like
still be in that list.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of doing Connell side quests as just a separate series.
It should still be in that list. You know what? Maybe I can release the 2.5 Japanese right now and we can see.
See how it look.
Let me do that. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. It's a good idea. They're always updating stuff, which is awesome. They even have I don't know if we've showed it on stream yet, but they updated their like crowdfunding section on Global Comics.
They have a whole new crowdfunding tab at the top, right?
Right. It's its own page. It's on the front, the home page as well. Let's see here, crowdfunding. And I think Carnal is there. I see Carnal.
Pull it up.
I see it.
Oh shoot! I'll be able to do a Japanese edition of the freaking
Japanese.
translated.
Yeah, and I think some more people in the chat are jumping on Global Comics. I know Wackass just got it recently.
I did notice a following from Wackass. Thank you. You should go actually follow us on Global so that when we release stuff, you get a notification and download the app. So you get a notification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty dope. I was thinking about reading Invincible on Global Comics. I've been watching a lot of Robert Kirkman interviews. And
Look, no, we'll share my thing.
Where's yours? What? Oh yeah. What? No. Everyone's moving buttons around. Okay.
We're a very busy bunch.
he accidentally kicked Irene because I took my button away.
Look,
there it is.
Right, we got the all, and then they have crowdfunding right here, and then look, Bill and me right next to each other. Oh.
And you're not even signed in, so it's not even putting
Yeah.
you up there.
It's not even targeting me directly.
Because it will, yeah. If you're a creator, it'll show your thing.
There it is.
I gotta let my dog out.
Look, got
Doggy.
179 days until the hopeful end of the campaign. Look, 4,000 views, but not really. It's 3,500, but it's ticked up to 4.
Nice. Yeah. Now, if you have a free to read content on Global Comics, you get a lot of views, and that's great. That's the way to get readers.
The illustrious illustrated adventures of the one and only This is the kind of description you write when you don't have a description. Let's see what Phil
Yeah.
wrote.
It's good enough.
The characters, things from the book. Cool. So this is where lowest common denominator brain how reads stuff.
It helps though. You kind of need that to market to most people, and I wish I could think like that.
Oh, my computer's fans going crazy.
Okay, I published the Japanese 2.5, and never mind, I was wrong. It looks like it's still numbering it as 3, even though on the back end it says one shot number 1, so I'm a little frustrated. But anyways, that's
Well done.
published now. There you go, everybody. Check it
Wait,
out.
I'm making a notification.
Did you?
Hey, this is cool.
I did.
40% said I ordered Vatican City 1 through 3 with variants. First floppies I've bought in over a decade.
Awesome.
You know what that means? That means we're helping to rejuvenate the comic industry.
Oh yeah.
Bringing people back.
Yes. Everyone go order Vatican City now. Pear, can you please share my screen? I wanna.
This one?
Yes, I want.
You're sharing so many things. I never know which one.
I have much complexity. So there you go. That is now published. Yay! Look, it's in Japanese.
Cool.
There you go. Yeah, it still shows up at chapter 3. Not very happy about that, but it's fine. I'm sure there's something that can be done. So yeah. All of that will be coming to Osaka Comic Con in a month.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
Cool. Yeah, and for me it's just Vatican City. It's next Wednesday. So things are already heating up a little bit. I'm getting like notifications and some articles are coming out. It's all pretty exciting, but everyone just keep your eye out and read it and talk about it. Always helps. And, yeah. Next weekend is a convention in my town that I live in. There's a small convention that I'm tabling at. So it's Thursday through Sunday, so I can't do Creative Block next week.
Okay.
It's kind of bad timing because it'd be fun to do the launch or to be able to talk about Vatican City launch. but I think the next one, so it will have been out for like a week, and then there might be a lot.
So you won't be around this coming Thursday for the show?
Yeah, I won't be. I mean, I think I'll be at the convention still. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
If I do make it back, I might be able to be late if you guys want
Okay.
to still do a show.
Yeah, it's on my channel next week, guys. So get over there, click the bells, subscribe to be notified. I don't know what we'll do, but I look forward to it. There was a period, like we talked a bit in the show in the middle about like how the show is going so great. The more viewers, but there was a period of whenever it was your week, it became daunting. It was like, oh, what the fuck do I do this time? But it's kind of getting fun to host now. Now that we kind of figured out how to approach it in a way that will create more discussion, especially from the chat. It was great during the presentation today. The chat was very talkative, and yeah, it seems like the subject and how it's conveyed gave them a lot of ideas.
The best part of today's presentation was when we were all sitting in silence trying to think of 2 assassins ideas.
Yeah, that was the best part. The torturous 40 minutes we sat trying to think about assassins.
And it would have been fruitful, but I already forgot what everyone said. Everyone said something good, but
I don't know if that was really fruitful, but
we didn't combine.
We attempted it. It happened.
And monster capture.
Yeah. Okay. I might click it and end it here in a second. Is everyone
okay?
All
right. Thanks, everybody. See you guys next week.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for on my channel.
Bye.
Hey, wait. Let's do one more round of assassins.
No, I am leaving.
Comic creators both get assassinated.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna push this button. Okay, now I'm going to push the button. We're still live. Don't do it.
Oh my god, the biggest